Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. We are here. It is time again. Every week we do this, and it's already Monday. All right, I don't even know what day it is. It's Monday already. What's going on out there, everybody? Holy mackerel, look at the 10-4 DC attendance figures are in. Let's talk about the huge attendance that they had out there. The NTSB gets in on the hours of service. Big G's got some problems. Not huge problems, I guess. The GM strike closure continues to this day, and we'll talk about how that's affecting everybody. And, of course, it's Roller Wiener Monday, as it always is here on Monday. So get your wieners out, and let's get the show started. All right, what is going on out there? Let's see where everybody is. And I'm doing clickings as usual. More clickings. All right. Am I on the thing? Let me see. What am I doing here? I don't even know what I'm doing. All right. Mark, how do you even do this? I have no idea. All right. Back to the thing. There we go. Clicking. Michael Muller was first today. Thank you very much. I can only see what's each day, so I don't know what has happened on other days. All right. What is happening? Cash is King Trucking is here. Thank you for being here. Misty is here. And I wanted to ask you, you said that you were off because of the driver cam. Let's get into that for a minute here. As if you answered somebody I didn't see, what happened? Wow, Bill, what's going on? Good to see you today. Thank you for coming in today. Trucker Hershey is here. And we're going down the thing here as I'm clicking around GT40. Hello, James Faust. Thank you for being here today. The Rooster's here. We are all getting up in the house, and I'm seeing Christopher Robinson is here. Nice. I love it. So that's great. Semper Fido is here. Good morning in California. Right. Some places we're already halfway through the day. Jay James, it's time for the man, Mark. Well, I appreciate that, certainly. Bricks Morris, good day from home. Good. Truck in the shop since Thursday, not good. Todd is here. Thank you very much. Camera's rolling. Fleet Nav Systems is here. Hello, thanks for coming in. Sharon is here. Red Wine, thank you. Have a great day for everybody. Cartage Studios is here. Where am I at here? In the house? Oh, at Minneapolis in this house. 55, yeah. Chipotle. I don't think they have roller wieners at Chipotle. It is cool here, too. We're going to hit 69 today or so. Backwoods, Northwest. Love the show. Thank you. Talk about there are many ways to get paid. Yes. Breakdown, snow pay. I love it. Layover pay, overweight, tarp pay, washout. I know. There's tons of different ways. It should be one way, hourly pay. That'd be a lot easier for everybody to figure out. GSXR is here. You're moving cows in Texas. Holy mackerel. Bobson, what's going on? In Sunshine State, probably more than 55 down there. Clay, afternoon. Glad to hear me on the live show. Thank you. You're headed home on Indiana at 65. I'm looking for you out there. Jack Daniels, hello. Jay Johnson, at 65 in Chicago. Really? Dave Johnson is here. Green chrome wraparound shades. Must the official eyewear. They are. I love those. I get a lot of grief from people about them. I don't care. I like them. So I'm wearing them. Siege now is in Wyoming. There was that big truck that just went off a ramp out there in Jackson, Wyoming. The cab came off of the truck. He didn't actually go on the ramp. That was the problem, right? The ramp was closed, and he ran into some grain bin or something. Right? I should have put that in the description. I don't have it. Adrian, work at National Carriers. What do you think about that, Kyle? Stuck in a state where you can't idle to run your air conditioning. Super great. Hopefully they've given you an alternate way. It's not too hot today. Nathan, hello. Who's got New York and St. Louis in the World Series? That's some kind of sports thing. I don't know what that is. Good morning from Washington. Good day from Idaho. Trucker Joshua. Larry's here. All right. The NTSB left a comment on the hours of service, and it's time for you to comment also. We have until the 21st of October. I don't have the link, of course. The NTSB left a comment that said, hey, there's no evidence that any of these changes are going to improve safety. I love it. That's the National Transportation Safety Board. So they're also against it. I'm not a huge fan of adding 3 hours to your day. I don't think that's a great plan. At least from my perspective, adding 3 extra hours I don't think is going to help people, especially when they are unpaid hours. Jose from Levittown, Pennsylvania. Everybody over there today. Kenneth, the low there. Kyle, it's 85 in Pennsylvania. Really? You must be getting the last of what we had here a few days ago. Supernova, what's the update? Yeah, it's rolling. It's still rolling along. It hasn't been canceled or anything. It's in that big funding bill. So what will happen with it? We don't know. But is it possible that it could happen? Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing yet, though. Nothing yet. And I'm not a fan of it. My truck only goes 65 as a company driver, but I don't think it should be government mandated. I think all traffic, if they want to be safe, all traffic should go the same speed. That's how it should work. Kenneth heading home from West Palm Beach, Florida. Wow, what do you get out of Florida? What kind of load you get down there? Adco, what's going on? Hey, what's happening? The Road Warrior, hello there. You don't agree with the hourly, the critic, because there are too many lazy drivers who collect a check. Well, the other side of it is there's too many companies that hose you on the miles. So what's the good solution to it? It can't be that if everybody's lazy, the other side of it is you drive 500 miles, they pay you for 450. Why isn't that wrong? I mean, the best way to do it is hourly. That's the only way to make it fair to get companies out. Otherwise, you should be paid for all of your time, on duty time and driving time. So you sit in traffic, you don't get paid anything. So what is a better solution? If it isn't hourly, what's a better solution? A salary, maybe salary, a weekly salary. That might not be bad. Red Wine 5, what's up with Big G? All right, Big G Express is in the news. They have an employee stock purchase program there. And there's a settlement because the trustee of the program, get this, and the former owner and CEO have to pay a civil fine. They agreed to it, a little over $45,000. Now, of course, they say they didn't do anything wrong. And because the plan, when you sell the stock back, the plan buys your stock, okay? So you can sell it back. It turns out when they sold their stock back, they got way more than the price of the stock. Say I don't know what their stock is. Say it's $25. So the plan would pay drivers and everybody else $25, but it would pay them more, $40, $50 or whatever. Isn't that something? Now, they didn't do anything wrong, they said, so must just be a coincidence, just an honest mistake that somehow when they sold their stock back, they got way more than other people that sold their stock back to the plan. Isn't that something? I can't imagine how that could possibly happen. But that's what happened with those guys in the employee stock purchase program over there. Really something that they were able to have that happen. I wish that, would happen for drivers. That never happens for anybody else, of course. So that's the deal on Big G Express. They're getting this ESOP settlement done so that they can move on. This, of course, doesn't help their investors or anything else like that. Has that ever happened to you? Does it ever work out in your favor like that, or is it always somebody else's favor? 71 in Champaign, the Road Warrior. A rainy day in Pennsylvania. Just bought a Nissan Frontier. Sweet. I hope. Are those made in the United States? I hope so. You should get a good deal on those. The new Frontier comes out next year or the year after. They're going to redo the whole thing. They're giving big discounts on those. People don't know I'm a huge car fan over here. Also, the critic. Your DSP tells you about people that he had to fire because they cost more money than the company due to idling. Well, people need to idle their truck. I mean, if you're sleeping in it, if you're not in it, that's one thing. But otherwise, yeah, they should figure that into their rates. What's up from North Carolina? Yeah, nothing happening here. Hello, YouTube 541. Interesting. What do you think is a fair hourly wage? Well, I think it depends on your experience and where you live, certainly. But, hourly plus overtime seems to be the best way that I can think of to pay people fairly for their time. I'm always one that listen to a different way, but right now, the way that we have it now, the trucking companies hose you. So I love that people say, well, drivers will just sit and hose the company. Well, company's the one hosing us now. So which is a better way to do it? Adrian, National Beef owns National Cares Beef. It's what's for dinner. Plus, remember Clara Peller? What is her famous line? Well, Bill remembers that probably, and James. Michael Muller saw one of the new Sell It on Pete's with a cracked fender. Yeah, sure, they're getting him in now and getting their chance to wreck them so that they match all the rest of the trucks. Jose, $1,500 a week salary would be enough for everyone. Well, we don't want everyone to get the same pay. Everyone isn't worth the same amount of money, right? Cold Shoulder, good morning. Ruben, driver for Heartland, shout out from the mountains. You're on I-26 in western Tennessee. All right, the mountains of Tennessee. What's my opinion on the Detroit 60 series? Great fuel mileage. The 12.7, great engine. No problems with it, I don't think. Although, I don't own a truck or anything. Michael says $35 an hour for every hour on duty. Wow, that would be super sweet. Cartage, probably stock options at a lower price. Well, no, this was part of the employee stock option program. So these are all employees, they said. And then when you would sell it back, you get paid because you can buy them cheap. But then here's the problem. They got to sell them back at a higher price. They would get more money. But, of course, they don't admit any wrongdoing. The Critic, in your experience, companies that pay low mileage because they hire drivers, they can't get hired anywhere else, like Western. Well, there's a lot of companies that, Western is low, but there's a lot of these companies that pay a really low mileage, even though they give great, cup holders at CFI, their mileage rate isn't super great or anything over there. Wild Bill said, where's the beef? Exactly. Clara Peller. Some companies pay 55 plus you only get 2,200 miles. That's the other problem. So if you get mileage, but they don't give any miles, so you got $1 a mile, they only give you 800 miles a week. It's still not great. You're only getting $800. And you're gone from your house. So all your time, if your time was paid rather than your miles are paid, that would work out much better in your favor, I think. Jason, good morning from California. The Critic, you do household goods miles. Yikes. I make enough. Do I want more? Of course, and eventually I will. See, if you just go somewhere, that's okay, household good miles. Schneider's always my example of this. They're good 10% off on a lot of miles. So that's a good example. You do 500 miles, you get paid for 450 miles. How's that? How isn't that hosing the driver? If a driver was paid hourly for that time, that'd be different. Like a real, percentage or miles. Well, of those two, I'll take the mileage pay. I don't like percentage because I don't know what they're getting. And on percentage, when the percentage is zero, you get nothing. If the rates go down, you can lose money. You get a pay cut. And I can't control the amount of money they accept. So say they accept a low load for $1 a mile or something to get the truck out of there. And I get my 20% of that. Oh, that's awesome. 20 cents. Because I don't have any control on it, I'm not a fan of percentage. I just never have. A lot of people like it. They get on it and love it. And if rates go up or your company takes higher paying loads, you can do good on it. But I'm just not a fan of it. 27 Jeffrey says 27-hour driving for Cowan hauling for Dart container. Is that what you currently get or you'd like to get? And do they pay overtime? The Critic, CFI pays low because you only need 3 months to work there. Exactly. So your pay would be based on your experience. But, their pay is only in the low 40s. Even once you get a lot of experience, it's not a super lot of pay. They put all their money into these phone holders. That's what they put their money into over that place. Hello, Mark and drivers. Great day for trucking in Northeast Georgia, isn't it? It's always a great day to be trucking. Sea Hill, right? Truckers Coach TV is here. Hello, sir. I hope you are doing well today. Thank you for coming in. The Critic, there should be performance-based raises and performance-based bonuses. The way good drivers get rewarded, lazy drivers don't benefit. I agree. I totally agree. Right? The better you do, the better your work is, the more you ought to make. Absolutely. I wish some companies it's not a lot of split, and that's why I favor a 3-part CDL. So that if you walk in with an expert license, that you have 5 years, experience, no tickets or accidents, you would automatically get more money. Hello, C. Hill, right? Jason, Truckers Coach, what's happening? UFO, thanks for reminding me why you don't like Schneider. I just don't, household goods, right? There's no reason to pay it anymore. They always put out there like, oh, we don't have, that's just how we pay it and all that. And that's just garbage anymore. Come on, at least do practical miles. Ruben, can you make Heartland Express? They deserve something about Crap Company of the Week. Are we talking about Heartland or Millis? I'm not sure. Dave, I'm flat rate. Hourly drivers are $28.75. Overtime is after 45. That's pretty good. A lot of places in the industry don't pay overtime at all because they're not required to. But, they should, certainly. Some don't pay it at all. $28.75 plus OT is pretty good week. So a driver there working 60 hours, you're looking at a lot of money there, really good money. And a driver on hourly then, don't do this lazy thing. I do hear that a lot. No, if you're out there being paid to work, you should do a day's work, certainly. Michael says you got a Pete with 280 miles on it in mid-January. You got 116,000 on it. Wow. I'll be taking 2 weeks at 48 cents and grossed 55,680. Wow, that's you really rolling out there. Caleb, a little late, 55 in Grand Rapids. We'll put it up there. Not snowing yet. That is coming. Jeffrey, no overtime. That's your current gig. A lot of companies don't pay it. I think they should pay it. They're not required to pay it, though, so there's no way to force them into it. Company you're on with right now, Kenneth, is a mom-and-pop operation. They treat you well, getting the miles and pays not too bad. $1,500 to $2,000. That's really good. $2,000. You're closing in $100,000. What's wrong with that? The Critic, that's the solution. Don't need hourly and don't need salary. What is the solution? That's what TMC advertises. Start out at 26 or 27. Doesn't seem much. Depends, though. It depends on their rate. What if they're getting $2.50 a mile? You're in 60-something cent territory, high 60s. So it just depends. A lot of the percentage depends on the rate. What if you got 100%, but every load they get 40 cents a mile? It's just the percentage and what they take, and you don't get to control any of that. So I'm just not a fan of it. People do it. People love it. People swear by it. I'm not one of them. I know tons of people that do make money doing it. Right. Oh, is that $10.99? That's a good question, Michael Muller. Gonzalo, I work for a company, 44 cents and 3,200 miles a week. They're rolling you. You're not sitting around a lot unloading, certainly. You don't recommend taking 220 and 87 to Albany from 81 North. All right. Alf, always nice to find out through the internet somebody screwed up with the ESOP plan before the company actually tells you, oh, yeah, I'm sure the company isn't going to make any notice of that. Road heavy, 44 cents at 75 miles an hour or 53 at 62. Well, that's the thing. I'd rather you went whatever traffic is going. We should be able to flow along with traffic and not be limited by the goofy government. You thought Heartland was paying 60 cents a mile. Hey, Mark, my company doesn't pay overtime. Yeah, I wish they did, but I'll stick it out for a year unless they ask you politely to leave. A lot of companies don't. That's the problem. A lot of places don't pay overtime, and I really think that they should pay it. But because they don't have to, they don't. And that's what they'll tell you, too. If you ask them about it, some places, they're like, oh, well, we don't have to pay it. Well, I know. You don't have to pay it. You don't have to pay anything, but you do pay it. So go say, I know you don't have to, but let's get some money going here. Adam, sorry you're late, but you're here sitting in New York. Yikes. JB Hunt hit your front side and blind backing fail. Sweet. Don't blindside. Was he in one of these? Oh, I have this picture too. Where'd it go? Right. Remember these old trucks? JB Hunt used to run these kind of things too around and some other places. So was he in something similar to this kind of truck? Maybe some of you drove it. I had a truck similar to this, one of these flat-nosed Internationals. They're pretty popular when they were out many years ago. You had to climb up like a little ladder on the side to get in the truck. Love it. So maybe he was in that. Maybe JB Hunt needs that truck to blindside back in too. Adam drove for Pam at 30 cents. Yes. Went to AD. That's way better. Pam is another company that starts people really, really low. ELD trucker, 75 per load. Oil hauler in South Texas. Now, I guess that would depend. How long does it take to do a load? Todd, waiting for Doc in Vernon, California. Appointment at 7. Schuster is good with paying detention. Still a pain in the butt. Is paying detention a pain in the butt? What are we talking about, Michael? Is it good for short ones? When the load pays 1,000, you get 260 to 270 for 250 miles. Okay. But if the load goes 2,000, the pay stinks. Right. That's correct. That's why at flat rate, not super great. Better than nothing, though, because at least on a flat, you get something. I'd rather you had a guarantee, like say it was $260 a day guarantee, so then you could make more rather than salary. How about a guarantee? Would that be better for everybody? That maybe that'd be better than mileage. A flat guarantee where you never make less than this as long as you work for the day. Mine doesn't pay overtime either. Why do they not have to? The federal the Fair Labor Standards Act from 1938, says that transportation is one of the fields that are exempt from overtime. So, and it's never changed after all those years. So they don't have to pay overtime. They don't even have to pay minimum wage currently if they don't want to. But most people make more than that. You're not required to get overtime in the transportation field. JD Forney, nice live trucking channel. First time here. Thank you very much. I'm here every Monday at 1 p.m. for people that don't know. So 1 p.m. Eastern time, depending where you are in the world or in the universe. Haven't had anybody from outside the planet, though, although I think a few people may be out there. Todd, I had driver making 25%. You're supposed to be making 25% of the 100% out there. You are, but do you know how much they really got? Do you know where you're going to? Do you know the things in life are showing you? That's the question, really. Seriously, if they say it's $2, how do you know they got $2? If they say it's, on this load we only got $1.20, and they show you something, you can never be sure. I can never be sure, but at least I know Here's what it pays up front, and you know what you're getting a mile. At least then you got something. Chrome Daddy is late, but had to get through Atlanta. Did you go through the middle and get a ticket? Beta, what's up? I work for Hale. Not bad and not good. So in the middle, we'll take that. That's better than nothing. What's up with the driver-facing cameras there? Kenneth, I'll try to be here, but I can't. Sometimes you're too busy to be here, but you like me. I appreciate it. And I read what we say to everybody. I do try to get to everybody, but I thank you for that. Yes. Hello, YouTube. You like the guarantee? Yeah, what about a guarantee? Where they say, all right, every day you'll make 200 or 250 at least. So even if you sit all day, you know you're going to make something. Or every week you'll make 1,000 or 1,200, like K&B, right? Which I kind of like, 1,250. Guarantee every week if you're available. How about that? And then if you make more, but you can never make less. Adam, it was a single sleeper, but didn't leave any info, but dash cam got him. See, the dash cam saves the day. Todd, Heartland cab over 58. Yikes. Fuel stops were all Speedway. And fuel no shower stops. The struggle was real. What the heck? There can't be that many Speedway truck stops. Or just could pay us $300 a day and be done with it, Michael. Well, but what if you made more than that in a day? It depends how many miles you had. Potentially you could make more. I'm just saying, how about a guarantee? Box trucks are ugly then and ugly now. You can back that thing in anywhere. What, 150, 160-inch wheelbase on that? Ruben is talking about Heartland Express. They pay raise not so good. The whole time they were treat us like dogs. Well, everything else is limited. That's not good, I guess. What if they don't have a pet policy? Ricky, that's BS. Drivers don't get overtime here, but the office staff and the shop guys get overtime. They're required to. They are not part of transportation, like a mechanic is not considered transportation. So they have to pay them. Office, if they're hourly, they have to get overtime. But drivers are exempt from overtime under the Fair Labor Standards Act. They don't have to pay you. They should, and you're better off working for a company that does if you get over 40 hours a week. If you're somewhere that you get 35 hours, it doesn't matter, I guess. But if you're doing 60 hours a week, just changing to a place that pays overtime can way increase your pay. JD Forney, I'm going to my own authority because of California, but wanting to do anyway. They gave me the push. Yeah, that's going to be your only way to get out of it out there, right? Either is to get your own authority or leave. ELD trucker, usually 4 loads per shift. After more experience, better companies pay $130 per load. Sweet. So that's $300 a day already, $1,800 a week with a day off. $130 times 4 is a lot of money. I'm a public school, so I'd have to figure that out. Al, you're from Mississippi? Kind of like another planet, depending on which road you're on, yes. Guarantee is great in the winter, road heavy. Yeah, I think a guarantee is great all the time. Then, you know, if you have to sit somewhere or you get a flat tire or something, you know you're at least going to make some money. That's what I always liked about Newsbaum. Monty, hello, what's going on? Kenneth, a few of my friends called you stop sign. Said them, what is a stop sign? I'm afraid to read the next one. Hello from Bay Bridge in Brooklyn with the flat beats. What's happening, James? It's good to see you here from the East Coast. Michael, that's 100% of what the broker pays the company, or 100% after they say take their 10% fee. So 1,000 is 900. Yes, exactly. You never know what 100% of 100% is on percentage, and that's always been my problem with it. There are people, though, that write to me all the time, Mark, I'm on percentage. I love it. You may love it, but I'm just not. I want to know what I'm going to make. And so for me, it just doesn't work for me. It may work for you. There's tons of things that don't work for some people that work for everybody else. I just always feel like I'm being hosed on it. Todd's on your way to Effingham. Where did I go off to? Right, okay. No, I always lose my place. For people that are new here, I'm bad at this and lose my place constantly. So I'm always happy that anyone is here. Thank you for being here, Ruben. Hey, Mark, did I find it about Stevens? I haven't found anything about Stevens. No, there people are saying, let's put this out here. Maybe somebody's got some more information that Stevens is going to be ending their tanker division. Okay. I can't find anything out about it, though. That's it. Got an email right about it, and there's supposed to be an email sent out to everybody there, but that's as far as it went. I haven't located it. Does anybody else know anything more about Stevens getting out of that? Michael, 600 miles at 48 cents a day is 288 a day, and 650 is 312, or they pay us 2,000 a week. That would be really good. 2,000. I don't know if they're going to salary at $2,000 a week. That would be really sweet. But what if you had, okay, so 288, 300. What about 300 a day guarantee? Would that be an all right amount of money? If you're guaranteed $300 a day, they go, that's it. 300 is your minimum, but they're going to want you for that. There's not going to be any of this. I can't work somewhere. I can't go here. I can't do that. You're going to have to use all your hours and everything like that for the guarantee. Would you be up for that? That's my question. Michael, who do I work for? Well, I never get that question on here, which is unusual for me. And so for new people, I don't ever say where I work. That keeps my company out of my videos. Also, I don't recruit for them. There's a lot of people on YouTube. They go company, recruiting. I don't do any of that, right? Let them recruit for themselves. So I just leave them out of everything. I think it works out better for both of us. Old school Whitey. Had a mom and pop burn you for 2 weeks' pay. That's not unusual. All because I told them you didn't want to run illegal. That's correct. Can't get anyone to answer the phone, text or emails from anyone in the office. That's not surprising. Yeah, that's certainly not surprising. I hope you did all this in writing. All your communication with your company should be in writing. So anything they say, it should be by text or on the system in the truck, and then take a picture of it, really, and just have a file. I do that. Okay, I do that at work too. I've been at my company for over 17 years, and I do that to this day. Damage, I take pictures of. If I'm picking up a trailer, everything that is done, and there's a file with the company name on it, and it goes in that file because later I might need it. Everything is time date stamped, so there'll be no question later about whatever you're doing. Everybody should do that. There's no excuse now. Everybody's got a phone with a camera pretty much. Beto, Stevens in the tanker division is not good. Used to all sand for a different company, and their employees were company to company I worked. I'm not surprised. Stevens in the regular division isn't any good, so or not great, and so I'm not surprised. David used to work for DM Bowman. Guarantee of $1,100, but would rarely paid out if he didn't fall under their 8 Qs, a 3-strike policy. I like it. So they have a guarantee, but you got to do 50 million things. That's how they get out of paying it. Backwoods, I've heard many veteran drivers that once you get 5 years, the door for big money jobs opens up, especially if you have a clean driving record. Oh, absolutely. And if you run hard, I guess. Right? That's not me, but absolutely. Always keep your record clean. Even just a year, really. A year in the industry is plenty. Clean record in a year, especially if it's at one company. You got it made. Michael Muller, 300 days, 2,107 days. Yeah, I don't know, though. You wouldn't be able to work 7 days because you'd run out of time, theoretically. But yeah, that's right. It would be. Oh, that'd be interesting. Would they pay the guarantee on your off day? No, 6 days. Ruben. Hey, Mark, have you thought about creating an app for all the drivers, collecting everyone on a nationwide scale? Oh, my gosh. I would have no idea where to start on that. Wow, Bill, that's a good policy. Thank you very much. Creating an app. Wow. Stephen Taylor. If I were guaranteed 300 smackers a day, would I request they pay you for parking? They should pay for parking. Company drivers should get paid for parking. Absolutely. I do backflips for 300 a day guarantee. See, so that 300 a day guarantee is not a bad idea. Kenneth, the reason they call you stop sign is you never stop. I run close to 8 hours before taking your break and don't do a 34-hour reset. Normally have 8.5 hours a day. Well, as long as they keep you rolling and then you're making money, no problem. How does Gracie feel about the 1939 Transportation Act? Well, I'll tell you, Gracie's not impressed with that act, certainly. She is totally not impressed with it. As cats aren't. When you talk, those kind of things with cats, they're just not impressed. Ryan, a picture of every load? Yes. Take pictures of everything. I put them in their own file and I save them. If you don't need them, they just sit there. And I back them up to Drive because I use Android, so they automatically back up to Drive every day. So you drop your phone somewhere, you still have the pictures. Please, that can save your career. Old school, I have a text that state not to stop running. She'll fix your clock. Oh, great. Pictures of the clock before and after. They also have text saying they aren't going to pay and not negotiate. Fine. Go down to your state and file for pay. Say to your state, you can usually do it online on the Department of Unemployment for unpaid wages. Haven't been paid. Here's proof that they're not going to pay me and I expect to get paid my money. And that's be the first way I'd get started because the state will try to get your money for you for no charge to you. It won't cost you anything. Backwoods, I'm glad I don't recruit for the company. I appreciate you being unique, and info is great. Thank you very much. Look, there's plenty of people recruiting. There's plenty of good companies, and, I'm just not going to be out there recruiting for my company, certainly. Todd, Rich Logistics laid 500 people off. Yeah, I did a video about that. Rich had a big layoff, basically closed 5 terminals as well. Absolutely. They're in the automotive space, and here we have GM on strike still. And they just weren't doing great in that. Although apparently, as people told me, their trucks went, about 90 miles an hour every day. JD, I'm grossing $28,000 right now as a leased owner operator. Not bad, but stupid California screwed it up. $28,000. I'm hoping that's weight on the load that you're on right now. Oh, $28,000 a month. All right, that's better. Well, that's really good money. But I guess as an owner operator, right, it doesn't matter what you gross. It matters what you keep. I was running your 70-hour down to 1 or 2 hours or less. Yikes, man, that is a long week. Old school Whitey won't pay because they had to find someone to run under their terms. Fine. Tell them I would just go file for my pay down at the state. That's the first way to do it. That's one unimpressive. Hopefully you mean one unimpressed kitty. Lawrence, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Nathan, enjoying the last couple of days of sunshine. Just got a weather alert that you're getting 8 inches of snow. Where are you going to get 8 inches of snow? Kenneth, Mary created a trucker path channel, not an advertising channel. Who's Mary? And what is a trucker path channel? Michael, or $275 a day you work, and on reset day, $75, which will get you $300 for 7 days. If you're out over reset, they'll pay you $70. Look, I think that'd be great. Mark, I didn't create any trucker path channel or anything like that. Holy mackerel. There's a channel out for me. I don't know what it is. A legit complaint to the Better Business Bureau. We get the ball rolling on sketchy deals. Does anybody go to the Better Business Bureau anymore? Caleb, I don't know. Lately sounds like I've been recruiting for GP Transco like this. Look, I like GP Transco, and they're not on the show today. Sometimes they're on here answering questions. How many other companies come on here and answer questions? And I think it's a good deal there, okay? And they don't pay me anything. So I put all this together, and they just come on the show, and I don't get any money for it. So, but I do like the place. And I'm going to go up there in the spring and see their new Tesla truck. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And just call them and ask them questions if you have any questions. Old school Whitey, that's what I wanted to know. I need to begin pursuit. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go to the state and get your money. I love the show. Thank you. And look, I think with that kind of thing, it is illegal. And there's some kind of sanctions. I don't know what they are. I'm not a lawyer. It might be worth talking to an attorney, an employment specialist attorney about, hey, they are withholding my money. I don't know if they'll do it or whatever. It might be worth that too. What if they just got a letter from a lawyer? I mean, companies only get away with this because they're allowed to. So go get your money. The state, it's free. Corey, hello from San Antonio. I can never forget that place. Nathan, Northwest North Dakota. Oh, well, there you go. I mean, you're so close to Tim Hortons up there. That's what you get. That's what you get up there. Holy mackerel. Road Heavy, will I ever become a dispatcher? No way. Oh, my gosh. Do I want, a 40 or 50 of me calling in every day? Absolutely not. No way. I give them a lot of grief as it is. I can't imagine, taking that all day. David, thank you for all you do. You enjoy the videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a blast making them and putting them out there. Michael, it's amazing how Celadon defies the odds with everyone else going under. Every time I read about a company going under, I think it's Celadon, and it's not. Oh, it's Celadon. Nope. They're going to be like the last company standing. You watch. After everybody else closes, Swift, everybody will close. It'll still be Celadon getting another, investor to give him money. Rick, afternoon. First time here. Thank you, Rick Jones. Thank you for coming in. It's good to see you, Fender the Trucker. I started doing it better on Schuster. I quit after they put me with a new dispatcher. Dispatcher? Who knows nothing about trucking and made the problem. Would mess up and blame it on me. Every company. Look, it's just the policies. Every company, the greatest company, can have a horrible dispatcher. Certain there might be some at GP Transco. We don't know. But you got to get out from that. Absolutely. And a lot of places put people dispatch that don't know anything about trucking, because once you know about trucking, you don't want to be a dispatcher. Like, I would never want to do it. So, and I'm sorry, but that happened there. I would say probably every place has good and bad dispatchers, probably. Very few companies will risk live exposure. Most have things to hide. That's true. Oh, that's a good point, too. When a company will come on and just answer questions for you, I think that's, pretty good. And you can call them and ask them questions. Cover her own tail. Fender the trucker. Owner opposite Schuster are not allowed to unhook from the trailer on home time. They take control over what the owner-operator can do with their truck. To me, that's not being an owner-operator. I didn't know you could take your trailer home there. I guess they don't want it to be stolen. Is the idea, right? Caleb sitting at $78,000, 40-year hauling for Dollar Tree. Wow. Are you on the Dollar Tree private fleet that I talked about probably earlier in the year? Or do you haul for Dollar Tree through a third-party company? Pat Oakes, why does it seem to be an industry standard that spare equipment isn't taken care of? I spent 4 hours on 2 of our spare trucks getting PM services. Oh, of course, because nobody else, the spare truck driver drives it and then parks it, right? That's why it's so frustrating doing this drop and hook, because you pick up trailers, nobody cares. I picked up a trailer that had 2 flat tires one time. Who knows how long people have been driving around. The spare truck is exactly the same kind of thing. You go get the spare truck, you're like, holy crap. I got into a truck one time. They're like, oh, you can drive that truck. We fix your truck. There were cheese wrappers and cheese. This is like a sliced American cheese in the middle of summer. I don't know. There must have been 20 of them all over the place in there. And it smelled to heaven. I'm like, forget this. You can work on my truck tomorrow. I mean, this was just ridiculous. But that's because nobody cares. Drivers just leave them and they don't care because they know they're not going to drive it next. Certainly. Rhino, very much appreciate your time and effort for driver's benefit. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. JJ Godfrey, Gainesville, Florida, headed to Piedmont, paid by the hour. Now that's the way to do it, right? Do they pay you overtime? And how do they pay you by the hour since you're doing that? Do they just pay you off your log, or do you come back every day? Todd, the companies who pay a salary, do they set that on a certain number of miles? So you make more if you run. Sounds good, but at 2,800 miles, the salary is around 35 cents. That's why I think a guarantee would be better than a salary, because the salary doesn't encourage you to work any harder, but a guarantee would encourage you to work more because you'd make more. I totally agree with that. But a salary like ShipX is the one that I like, right, that has a salary, because the salary for them also counts when you're off. So say you stay out a long time and take a week off of time that you've earned, you still get paid your salary. So you'd have to figure that into your mileage. How about a week where they pay you and you don't run any miles? So at the end of the year, you'd have to figure out, how much did I average a mile? I don't actually go talk to people for my company, but when someone asks, you tell the truth and answer questions. Oddly enough, you feature them on one of your Doing It Better episodes. Well, so do you think that I should have featured them on there or no? Celadon is like the old aunt in the family. No one likes that lives everyone else. Yeah, there's always one person. Celadon, I'm telling you. Now I'm convinced Celadon is going to be the last one standing. Dashcan Sam. Are there any roller wieners left? Absolutely. There's always roller wieners left here because it's Roller Wiener Monday. So there's always another wiener available as I do clickings. All right. Schuster average length of haul and orientation 475 miles per load. That's way less than they say. That's certainly less than they say. Dollar Tree pay in dollar bills. I wish. Randall Smith, is there any good company for an owner-operator that won't steal from you? Well, I don't know. I don't do a lot with owner-operators. I'm sure there's tons of companies that don't steal from you, though, really. Who's out here an owner-operator at a good company that would like to give a recommendation? Fender the trucker. I was hearing a lot of rumors that England had or currently has a hiring freeze. I've heard that as well. And the schools are in pause, are being sold, or did they get busted? I haven't heard any more than that. And they still are running ads and stuff everywhere. So, although I've seen people talking about this rumor that they're being sold or they're not hiring, there's nothing more to it than that I can find. Fuelless trucker, what's the topic? I have a few things going on here. Like the NTSB comments on hours of service, Big G problems, stuff like that. Freightliner laid off 900 people at their plant. How about that? Paid off log and overtime after 40. JJ Godfrey. That is exactly the way to do it. That's pretty good. You must like that because you know you're getting paid even if there's traffic or whatever. Michael at Smith, you're only allowed to drop a trailer on home time if it's empty and you put a kingpin lock on it. That's fair enough. I'd say if it gets stolen, it's your responsibility. Caleb, well, other than you get fired, I wouldn't make you pay for it. I work for a third party hauling Dollar Tree. Warner's 54 cents a mile, 300 for every trailer unload. Oh, so you have to hand unload those trailers? How hot? Let's ask this. How hot is it in the front of that trailer in the summertime when 9 old ladies come out of the Dollar Tree to help you unload it? Al was using a spare truck when he got that stupid fine. Nobody's fault but mine. But it's bull. Yes, drivers shouldn't leave stuff that is not road ready. Exactly. At least tell the company, hey, that spare truck, it's a piece of junk. Fix it. Ryan, oh, your guys get a guarantee, but they have to make appointments on time. I get with them for setting appointment times, and that's on them to get it. I agree with you. Right. A guarantee is you do your job. Absolutely. GP Transco gives a week off after 6 months. I didn't know that. Corey, I like heavy-duty towing. I'm paid commission, but pay is great. $80,000, $100,000. That's really good. How do you get a commission? Oh, because they get charged for the towing. Yeah, you're the first tow person I've ever talked to, I think. Never thought about getting into that. Dashcam Sam, the company you work for, is hiring in Pennsylvania. That's awesome. Lawrence, you work at a good flatbed company. Cartage, do you still have a sponsorship with Joe's Roller Wiener Museum? Absolutely. They signed a long-term deal here to sponsor the channel at Joe's Roller Wiener Museum and Gift Shop. And Joe's Roller Wiener Emporium, by the way. Salary companies can be deceiving. Whatever you do, don't take me shipbacks from them. I love it. 75 mile an hour truck. You're doing 68 and a 70. Well, I've always said, look, you shouldn't hose the clock. You know, it's no different than them doing it to us. But I agree. But there's no incentive for you to speed, certainly. Spoken but the bottle spare vehicle. Yeah, I don't understand drivers doing that. They're just lazy. Tony, trucking is a blue collar job. Why is it exempt from labor law? Well, in the 30s, it turns out they don't have the interstate yet. People were trying to drive down the interstate, and it wasn't invented, so they were in the trees, and and so they're trying to log on the internet and couldn't do that because Al Gore hadn't invented it. Then trucking was a lot different than it is now. It was lumped in with agriculture and a few other fields in there that are exempt from overtime laws. And trucking has changed a lot, but the law didn't. There have been a few pushes over the years to change it. It won't go anywhere because guess who's against it? Oh, the ATA. Right. So it just is. It has remained exempt since 1938 from overtime, and including with agriculture and a few other things. Negative still waiting for Doc in Vernon, California. Burrito size of pillow off Roach Coach. I love it. I mean, these places, I don't know how they fit them out of the window sometime. Lawrence is looking for flatbed drivers and owner-operators. Oh, that's interesting. What does an owner-operator get there? Is this Blue Parrot waterproof? I will say this, that the new Blue Parrot, right, which, of course, you should get a Blue Parrot today. The new one, which I saw, an updated 450, which I don't have one, is going to be water-resistant. So you'll be able to wear it out in the rain, and it'll be voice-activated on the thing. I think it comes out this month, as a matter of fact. I wish I was more up on my Blue Parrot stuff, but I'm not. I should be, though, really. Don't forget to talk to Jay tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. I'll always put Jay out there, friend of the show for a long time at Auto Transport Intel. He's live at 8 p.m. Central on YouTube. How about that? How about that, Jay? What's going on if you're out there listening in? Do I have a roller wiener costume for the Halloween show? No, I still have not looked one up. I didn't know that. I didn't know how to look it up without having Google wonder why you're looking up wieners. I make the wieners for Joe. Barbecue trucker. Yeah, he's the official wiener supplier for Joe. Michael, semi-truck driver. Good morning. Hope all is well. It's good to see you here. They're hiring at all plants. Butch, great channel. I think I want to work somewhere else till I see your reviews. Well, I can't get to every place. There's thousands of places. Find a place that fits you. You know, you got to decide, what do you want out of trucking? Don't just take, as I tell people, don't take the first place that sends pizza to your truck school. Go find, well, here's what I want to be home this often. I want to make this much money. I want to haul these kind of trucks, and then go find a place that fits that rather than just taking another job. It takes some time. It'll be well worth it. Always get a guarantee, even missed appointments if it's not in their control of being late. All right, they always get the guarantee. Right, as long as this isn't their fault. That's exactly the way it should be. Todd says tell them to call Landstar. That's a good idea. Department of Labor still has truck driving classified as non-skilled. Right, because it doesn't take that long to learn how to do it. So it's not like, a CNC machine operator, something like that, because it has a short training period and there's no licensing requirements other than a CDL, not like a profession. They don't consider that a professional license. So that's why it's still exempt. No one's just changed it. If you have to wear it, make it a parrot. To start, 55 cents as a driver and 85% as owner operator. There's the percentage again. I'm always worried about percentage. And let's ask if 55 cents is practical miles. Morning, Mark. We'll put it as some. A great show. I always get nervous stopping on an off-ramp side of the road. Can you get busted? Yeah, probably. It's not legal to park on a shoulder or anything unless you have an emergency, an immediate emergency, and certainly you don't want to be doing that on the side of the road. Probably, I don't know how many people actually get busted for it. Probably not that many. Yeah, indecent exposure. You don't do it like in a neighborhood or that off-ramp that says, hey, here's 3 schools within 50 feet of here. That might not be a great idea. Indecent exposure if the right lawman sees you. It's a risk. It's certainly a risk. Can we stop at a truck stop or something? I mean, I'm just trying to keep people professional. I mean, we can't go complain about being professional and then, I understand people time or whatever. I get it. But can you get busted? Yeah, probably. Will you? I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody getting busted. I got Read It To Me app on your phone. It reads your magazine and asks me if you want to reply. Reads your mag. Reads a mag. Messages? Oh, messages, maybe. And asks if you want to reply. No wiener wear yet? Not yet. I'll hold same consequences as a pedophile? I don't know about that. Maybe. Look, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't recommend it. I never recommend it. I like people to stop somewhere, and go in like a regular person. Should truckers have a national license and a set of national driving laws? When I went over the road, I really used the United States isn't too united. Yes, absolutely. A national license that's graduated. First year novice. After 1 year, you get a professional license. You have to go back in and get it. After 5 years of no tickets and accidents, you get expert. If at some point you get a ticket or have an accident that is your fault, you go back to professional until you have 5 years with no tickets or accidents. And that would help companies decipher who they want to hire and would certainly help you get more pay. Todd, students ask home time, length of haul, trailers to truck ratio, less live unload. Yeah, live loading and unloading is the bane of everyone's existence. Try to drop and hook all day if you can. The healthy highwayman. You're in a spotted lanternfly quarantine zone. What do I do? I haven't taken the class, so I don't know. I would say it is a real problem to be in a lantern. Don't you have to have a sticker for something like that? There's a class you might be able to take. I would just sneak out. What are the chances that there will ever be a national driver strike? 0. Because the 10-4 event was Friday. And where to go? 10-4 DC. Okay, last year they had 50 trucks. This year they had 40 trucks. So they had 10 less trucks, which turns out is 20% less attendance than they had last year. And so no, the trucker strike goes nowhere. Not going to happen like the one in the 70s. That was the last big one. And it's just not going to happen. It's just not. People are afraid of losing a job they don't like anyway. So that's always a problem. Never be afraid to lose a job you hate in the first place. Truck schools should use road trucks for training and not a 2-axle day cab. Oh, look. Okay, so at my truck school in 1988, I went to a PTTS, Professional Truck Tractor Trailer School on the south side of Chicago. South side, shout out. So we did use a road truck on the road. We had a white Road Commander. Some of the viewers will know what that is. On the road, my first driving a truck, 10-speed, and in the yard, we had a Brigadier in the yard. And then you took the test, though. You took the test in a Ford single-axle, 5-speed synchronized day cab with a 26-foot box trailer, which was empty. And it was a single-axle also. And they did that in my school so that you could pass the test, because a truck school is trying to get you to pass the test. And at that time, if you hit a corner or anything, a curb, you failed. And so more people were able to pass the test this way. But I agree. You should learn in a truck you're going to drive, because that didn't help you. Now, the road part of the truck school, yeah, and the Road Commander, we were out on the road with a 48-foot trailer, which was the length at that time. And you got a lot of experience. They were empty, but and they made us go through all 10 gears, both ways, up and down, to learn everything with manual steering. That's what the truck had. but the actual testing at the facility was done in a synchronized 5-speed day cab. If you see one, kill it. I don't know if you're allowed to kill those things. Rhino, CDL is an unskilled trade, so the government says, and then again they said the earth was flat too. Well, sure, you can look outside. We all know this. If you look outside, you can see the earth is flat. We discussed this sometimes, but obviously the earth is flat. I can see it doesn't curve. So obviously flat. The Princess of Dixie Hill, I'm on Highway 81, rest area before Roanoke. Love it. Full of trucks every morning, yes. Note, the state writes tickets for this on Wednesday and Thursday at 7:30. Why only those 2 days? Powerade bottles work well. Just put in the dumpster. Yes, I guess. If you have to do that, at least don't throw them in the ditch or on the side of the road. Downside to heavy-duty towing is unpredictable hours. I bet. You never know when somebody is going to need a tow. Is it busier in the winter? I'm thinking it is. Maybe not. Pulling all the ABF trucks out of the ditch. The doubles. Everybody with doubles seems to ditch it. Unskilled trade. When was the last time we spent $70,000 for a fry cook job? Oh, the government at work. That's very good. But in the 30s, there's no truck school, right? So it was considered unskilled because you just basically went and got a job then, right? I'm sure. And even my truck school in 1988 was $1,595, which is relative. Even $7,000 is a relative small amount of money compared to college. I think that's what they're doing for it. Michael, we had to do training at Smith for spotted lanternfly, right, and destroy eggs. That's what I thought. There's some kind of class you have to take. Your company arranges all that. The Healthy Highwayman, do you your truck decorated with Halloween? No, I'll usually put a row of Christmas lights in it at Christmas, but that's about it. Everyone should stay home on Mondays and view Trucking Answers. Wild Bill is the comment of the day. Thank you for that. Tony, I drove local at Chicago rail yards. I have a CCW and carried a firearm. Am I in violation? I don't know. Yeah, in Chicago, I don't know how that works. If it's Illinois, I'm not a firearms expert. There's probably people on here that know more about that than me. I drove in the Chicago rail yards as well many years ago for Pal's Cartage. But I didn't carry a firearm. I don't know. If you drove at a company, you probably violated their rules. I haven't found a company yet that would allow it. Pender the trucker, truck driving is a skill. It doesn't take long to learn it, but not everyone is good at it, that's for sure. Knowledge of FMCSA, having good communication, it's a mobile office. Oh, absolutely. And the longer we go with it, the more technology there is. Michael, the semi-driver, caught on the shoulder. If ticketed, the outcome is the same as being placed on the sex offender list. Yeah, maybe. I think it's a risk. Dashcam spotted lanternfly requires you have a permit in the truck that someone in the company is certified about the problem. Yeah, isn't there some kind of sticker that goes in the outside of the truck? Anyone know anything about Beelman? Yeah, let's see if there's somebody out here. Barbecue trucker at Prime CDL school. Folks train on the road with their trainer, not on a lot. That's true, right. They do the road stuff with a trainer. That's correct. In a road truck, which is good. That actually has freight in it. That's even better. Trucker Hershey, manual steering when men were real men. That's true. The steering wheel was like 9 feet across. Exactly. To get that thing cranking. Yeah, that was really something. That truck did not have air conditioning, but I've since had it ever since then. Truck driving school was $3,897, so it doubled in price in a decade. Still a bargain. It's still a bargain no matter, even at $15,000, it's a bargain. Michael says when we got your CDOE at an International 9900i, with a loaded trailer. Wow. The instructor set the tandems in a different position, and that's the same truck we did the road testing yard brace backing. That's good. See, we didn't do any of that. There was none of that. What's the word on S&S out of North Dakota? Yeah, let's see what people say. Tony, you broke a company rule, but perhaps not a law. I don't know what the laws in the Chicagoland area are. You're going city to city up there because I did all these rail yards. And one's in Chicago, one's in, a different city, Bensonville or whatever. They're all over the place. So it depends. I don't know. Michael, and yes, when you see a spotted lanternfly, it's an invasive species. And you're allowed to kill them when you see them. Okay, so you can kill it. I don't know what one is. I don't go there, so I didn't have to take whatever that class is, the spotted lanternfly class. Did you see that the FMCSA is going to push now automatic emergency braking and lane departure warning to be encouraged to be in all trucks? And they're going to do this through what I call propaganda, but they call outreach. And who are their partners in this? the ATA, the ATRI, the American Transportation Research Institute, which is part of what? The ATA. Nice. And the Technology and Maintenance Council of the ATA. No, there are no drivers on this panel at all. And they're going to push for complete adoption of these things across the board. And why the ATA would want that when they can just do it themselves is because it would mandate smaller companies, owner-operators and everything to have a truck that complies, which would make them buy an expensive, newer truck. You wouldn't be able to run that 98 Freightliner down the road if it didn't have these things, if this ever turns into a law. And so they're going to put outreach, which is propaganda, to tell you how great all this stuff is, even though we know it's mostly horrible when the thing interacts with the truck instead of just giving you a warning like it should. Like, look, the wife's car has all this stuff on it, and all it does is give you warnings, right? I have this stuff turned off so that it doesn't do any kind of interactions. But in the semi, we can't turn it off. And the FMCSA Martinez came out and said, oh, this is going to save lives. This is going to do great. So look for that to come up in the future. If you own a truck, a single truck or a few trucks, that's going to become a real expense. You couldn't really retrofit an older truck. You'd have to get a new one. Would be way more cost. Now, will they grandfather it in? I don't know. There hasn't even been a law proposed, but he came out and talked about that. He was there with all of his buddies at the ATA and all these other things to come out and say, hey, look at all this stuff we should be doing. And we're going to encourage trucks to get this. All right, so Maverick got back with you finally. Asked if I could pass the DOT physical. Explained that it does take 3 to 4 months to get approved. That's crazy. Why does it take 4 months to get approved? I'd like to know if you asked him that question. Michael paid $3,200 for your CDL in 05 in Champaign, at a college. That's pretty good. Wild Bill says you cannot bring a firearm into any rail facility. That's probably a sign posted somewhere. But yeah, that's the other thing. Going into customers, besides the railroad, shippers, receivers, they probably ban firearms as well. So, but that's just that. Your company would certainly fire you for it if they found that out too. There's a lot of things that you violated here. And but they wouldn't know it, certainly. Not like you lay it up on the dashboard. It says, take this out of my cold, dead hands. I was at a truck stop in Leesport, and the lanternflies were all over the place. Yikes. Todd, where's GP Transco today? Yeah, I don't know where they are today. They didn't come in today. They do have a new facility that they're building, and they had a bunch of groundbreaking and stuff going on up there, so don't know where they went today. Hopefully they're around somewhere. Dwayne, hello from Texas. Deadheaded all the way from Toronto to Texas? Who deadheads from Toronto? Holy mackerel. You better be getting paid mileage for that. Good morning from Bismarck, the Shocker. Thank you for all I do. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate it. And thanks for being here. JJ Godfrey, mine was $15,000 for 15 weeks. Wow. Still worth it. Still worth it. Craig, Illinois has no law against carrying a gun in a commercial vehicle, but most trucking companies prohibit. Okay. I mean, Illinois just seems like it's strict on that. If you are a company driver, it's almost always prohibited, and it's immediate termination where I work and probably where many of you work. The Shocker says any trucker who votes Democrat needs to do something else. Yikes. Politics coming on early today. Almost election time here. JJ Godfrey, $15,000 in 94. Wow, that was a lot then. Whew. Do you think since it was 15 weeks long, you got better training than somebody that maybe took a 3-week class? I mean, did they really go into logs and all that stuff? None of that was done in my school. They said, oh, don't worry, your company will show you all about that. Trucker Dave pulled the fuses and no more auto braking. They consider that that you're tampering with the equipment. I agree, though. Misty, oh, there it is. Good. Driver cam got you when your sensor went off on the truck stability lane departure. Right. It was a super windy day. When video was viewed, they saw you were touching something on the dash. I was told I was driving distracted and got a 3-day suspension. Really? Set the hard brake and lane departure. I was glancing down at my dash, adjusting the radio. I wouldn't sign. I'll tell you this. I wouldn't sign it. Companies usually have you sign things for that. I would sign. I would have refused to sign it and put on there, this is a total lie or something like that, and take a picture of that paper and give it back to them. I wouldn't sign it just because I want to later be able to to dispute that, especially if I need to leave or quit or whatever happens in the future, because they're going to say, yeah, this person was suspended for distracted driving. You don't want that kind of thing in your background. And that's garbage. I mean, you can't adjust the radio. What are you supposed to do? There were no vehicles within miles of you. What a garbage thing to do. Dwayne says you're paid for miles at a time. All right. Well, that's a pretty good way to go from Toronto to Texas. I'll tell you that. It'd be nice if they sent you back empty too. In late 99, you did the Schneider thing. They had a great training program there, right, at Schneider, where you get to go through the water field up there in Green Bay. I mean, that was really a great program at Schneider. I don't like their household good miles pay at all, but I think they had a great training thing going. It's another way to put owner-operators out of business. Knowing they can't afford all that safety stuff makes drivers pay less attention, rely on the sensors. Exactly. So don't need as much training. Oh, totally. I totally thought, oh, this is because the ATA, and I thought, well, why would they do that? Oh, because it'll put smaller places out of business. Once they run everybody else out of business, then they can run the rates back up and make tons of money for themselves. Absolutely, and get all the freight. Dashcam Sam is in the camera club too. It's horrible. I bet, let's ask Misty this too. Did the person who spoke to you about this, are they a driver? Do they have any driving experience at all? Did 11 months there, would think it would have been 3,000 or 4,000. That's not too bad. Federal student loans were available for truck driving school in 90. They still are on some places. Thanks to CRC's world high default rate, government stopped it. Yeah, there's some states, though, that give grants and stuff. So for new people, you still can sometimes get truck school paid through your state. I would encourage you to check that out. 4,000 for 3 weeks. Got a job within a day. Still with the company after 2 years. Good. They know you'll defend yourself and both have CCW permits. Yeah, look, it's just a risk. That's all I'm saying. It's totally okay with me. John, yours was 5,000 for a month. That's not bad. He had day cabs on the range and Peterbilt road trucks for practice and the test. She took the test in a Pete. Luke, just got your coolant reservoir placed on your Mac, at least completely leaving empty, leaving you on the side of the road. Love it. Love it. So leaking. We got to gorilla tape that baby up. Use that stuff on TV that guy makes a boat out of. Michael Muller, the more sensors in the truck, the less training the driver requires. You're voting for Bernie. All right, you tell him. Tony, I'm a printer by trade, but 2008 did your trade-in. So I went and drove a truck, 6 years over the road and local. Respect everybody and have seen a blue-collar job. You've never seen a blue-collar job that's so subject to policing. Yeah, I totally agree, right. There's so many regulations, rules, everything that you have to follow, and then the government is like, oh, yeah, you don't get overtime or anything. You can just get paid whatever. I work at national carriers, and it's in the handbook that it's an automatic termination if you get caught with a gun. I would say that's probably most companies. That's the same thing here. You're instantly fired for having a gun on you. They don't like you even to have I carry a knife with me, okay, but a Bear Grylls knife for survival, of course, but they don't even like that. Trucker Dave Schneider skid pad was a blast. That's what I thought, right? That skid pad was one of the best things up there. I apologize for... Yes, you should... Right. And I try not to get too much politics, certainly. Vamp, what's going on? It's good to see you. Logs, how a driver was really working, woke us up at 3 a.m. or 12 p.m., go run trailers were loaded, and we had to wait at shippers. Certainly. Luke, I at least got breakdown pay of $25 an hour. You're sitting there for 3 hours. That's great. Companies should pay for all this breakdown, layover, detention, all these other every kind of pay. Everything that you do should be paid hourly. Most companies don't, but it should be paid. All your time should be paid. Maverick said that they have to check in with their DOT doctor to see my kidney removal in 2011. Did you get a kidney removed in 2011? My friend, about a year ago now, had his kidney and liver. He had a transplant. He nearly didn't make it. Last time I saw him, I thought, man, that's it. I'm not going to see this guy again, but he got a new liver and kidney and is doing great. So do you only have one kidney? Did you get a transplant or what happened with that? So thinking some drivers these days got their CDLs in a prize box. Illinois offers vets a grants that paid for your school. That's really good. So you get your school paid and you're not beholden to a company. You don't have to go to a company and say contract and all that stuff. Absolutely. Misty, all right. He's been with the company 26 years. He's been driving a desk since long before the dash cams. Well, I guess at least he was a driver. But that kind of thing, what's their point to that? mean, do they want to put people out? It doesn't make any sense. If you can train a monkey to fly a spaceship, why not sing with the grapevine? Well, the Russian monkey didn't come back alive. At GP Transco, it's good to see you here. Good afternoon from the ATA Management Conference in San Francisco. Yikes. We're just bad-mouthing the ATA, but it is good to see you here. Bernie Honeymoon, Soviet Union, do some research. Yikes. I can't go too into politics. I'll have to cut that off. People get too upset about it. I also say carry a knife for cutting rope. That's what I told him, too. Look, I said, I got this knife. Because they said something to me. I wear it in a sheath, right? I wear it out. And they're like, oh, you can't have that knife. I'm like, look, this is just a tool I use. I got to cut hoses and stuff. I said, if your mechanics did their job, I wouldn't have to use this. So, Misty, I signed the form or not work. Really? That's not, that's not signing it. Hey, I got a deal you can't refuse. That's not fair. I wouldn't sign it. I'd put in there, I'm not signing it. And good luck firing me for not signing it or something like that. I just wouldn't. I see what you're saying. Look, I totally see what you're saying, but that isn't right to do. Sign here or you're fired is not you agreeing with the policy. It should be you either agree or don't agree, or that you've been counseled on it, but that you don't agree, something like that. Not a sign or you're fired. That's kind of horrible. I hope at least you took a picture of it. If you don't, in the future, you should. Everything you sign, if they don't give you a copy of it or you can't get a copy, take a picture so that later the form can't come out with more words on it than you actually agreed to or signed with that they've written in. What happened to the company spotlight and doing it better? You enjoy this? I'm going to be doing more of those. I've gotten a little bit away from it with some of this stuff that's been going on in trucking, but I agree. I have a company coming up here for that soon. So the shocker, I think backing up is becoming a lost art. In some places it is. Billy T of WV. West Virginia paid for your schooling for 4 weeks, so it was paid in full. That's great. Then you don't have a contract. Apparently I-40 East going into Nashville, a truck ran over a pedestrian. Why is there a pedestrian? And just kept going. Had one lane shut down for 6 hours. That's sweet. There is exact reason of getting paid a minimum or hourly, because that, if you're sitting there in that, and if it just comes up in front of you, there's no way to do it, No way to get out of it. Misty, I did turn into your attorney. I do have an employment attorney due to a previous employer. Oh, okay. I'd like to know what the attorney thinks about that. Because sometimes they'll even have a line. I've seen at some companies where it says refuse to sign. And you can agree to that part of it. But saying sign is basically making you agree. That'd be like, it's just not right that you must agree or you're fired. It seems like they're making you agree to it. And I don't agree with that. Under protest, something like that. I would probably put on, I don't agree to this at all. This is a lie, and so's your life, or something like that. I'd be really aggravated with them. They'd probably fire me. I don't care. Well, Orange Joe doing it now. He's the most corrupt. Yikes. I can't go into that. The barbecue trucker. I have just one kidney left. One was removed due to cancer. Oh, okay. Well, I know you can live with one because my friend, ironically now, he has 3 kidneys. 2 don't work. They leave the 2 in and add the 3rd kidney, which I found fascinating. So he was lucky to get his kidney. Unfortunately, where you're waiting for a kidney and liver, you're really waiting for someone to die in an accident. He doesn't know who it was, and that's the sad part of it. But if any of your family or whatever have ever given up their organs, know that they're being used. A friend of mine got 2 organs and almost died, but lived through it and is doing much better a year out. And it looks like he'll be able to live, normal 15 more years, they said, before they have to do anything more to it. They don't give you a good warranty on those kidneys. I don't understand that because they don't have any miles around them. I've decided I'm leaving leasing and going to a private company. So that's when this extra 3 hours comes into play. At least you'll get paid for it. Look, if you get paid for it, I'm all in, right? The problem is that most of these places aren't going to pay you anything for it. But yeah, look, if you get paid for it, that's awesome. That would be great. A private company, a great way to go. Michael, I'm trying to get one of those Ultralaw Peterbilts at Smith. Ooh, nice. That would be super nice. James Faust says it's Super 10 Monday. It's Super 10 Monday. What? Gracie wonders about that. What? Super 10 Monday. There were some of those down at the 10-4 DC rally, I think. Alf says mile marker 152 is not in Nashville. Tony, I worked at the Nationwide Rail Service in Burr Ridge, near Berwyn. Teamster Union. People in Chicago know what I'm talking about. New day cabs, $100,000 a year. With overtime, can't find drivers. Really? Decent management. Why can they not find drivers? at 100,000. Oh, because dispatchers. It's never pay, is it? Right. Pay is like the number 2 or 3 thing when they talk to drivers about why they quit a company. Pay is not the number 1 reason drivers leave a company. It's always some kind of management thing or something like that. The shocker, I don't understand why drivers agree to a situation like driver-facing cameras. Just quit. There's plenty of jobs and record low unemployment. Well, sometimes you're in a company, like they're testing them here, where you work and then they expand it and put it in all the trucks. A lot of companies have done that, like England added them to all their trucks. It's one thing if you're already somewhere and then they put them in. It's another thing, I guess, to go somewhere that's already got them. And part of it is also how companies do it. Like this, like Misty, that's a horrible way to do it. I've heard from drivers that a lot of companies, different companies that use them, that don't give them any grief. I guess the best one was the McDonald's driver. He said, yeah, they have them, it goes off, and they never talk to him anything about it because they have drivers view the video and look and see, is this driver really doing something unsafe or not? It's how they do them. Now, should they have the cameras? No. And then making you sign it, then, I don't know where this is, but it can't be that great of a place. George Costanza is here. I'm not debating politics. Bernie's a communist. Yikes. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Michael Trucking, I don't know if you put on the list. Veteran drivers, plus most of them are not registered yet. So the thing at Smith, they have trucks, and you can ask for a truck, but you're not guaranteed a truck, if I understand this right. You get a truck, and then if you want a different one, you get to move into it later when one becomes available or whatever. The truck shouldn't be a reason you go to a place or quit a place because of a truck unless they don't take care of your equipment, I think. If it's not being taken care of or if it's just untenable. But otherwise, go there, and if you really like the place, otherwise, go there and wait for the truck that you want. Truck is just not a reason to start or leave. Or the color. What some places tout their color of their trucks. You can choose your color of your truck, like that makes any difference. I would tell the company, see you in court because I'm not signing anything. I think it's a real problem. I wouldn't have signed it. I give them a lot of grief anyway. But I wouldn't sign. I'd have to write down there, I'm not, I refuse to sign or something like that. But I get why people do this, okay? You need a job. I get it. But I think that the way that that's done, that's pretty horrible. I hope your attorney writes them a good letter and tells them to cut it out. John, state of Pennsylvania paid for training. Came from a dying industry. All right. Look, if you got it paid, that's really good. GP Transco, the top 10 issues that are most important to drivers according to the large survey. Do we want to know what they are? Absolutely. Edward, a signature under duress is not legal. That's correct. But here's the thing, and I'm not a lawyer because people aren't giving legal advice. No. They're going to say, no, she signed it, right? How do you prove it's under duress, right? That's very difficult to prove without a witness or having recorded it or something else like that. They'll say, absolutely not. She agreed to sign it. So, right? Imagine people would lie about that. They would. On your bill ladings, you always put shipper, load, and count. That's a good way to do it. My plant manager says if you need a gun, carry one legally and don't tell them about it. Oh, well, I don't know anything about it. Okay, fair enough. Well, one of my old 579, but it's a mid-roof. Can't bring your passenger with me, so DM told you to put you on the list for one. Trucking Journeys, I know a guy selling nearly new Ultra Loft. Yikes. How much would that cost? Trucking Journeys sent you the email of the weekend about doing a video on Smith. Do you need any more info? No, I think that is great information. And yeah, I do. I am going to do a video about them. Last thing on politics, it doesn't matter who's in, only advance their own interest. Look, the person that's the president doesn't really affect us directly anyway. They're busy doing other things. We can make our own success basically by finding a job that you like and sticking with it, taking the time to find a good job that fits your lifestyle and staying there. I don't think it will disqualify from driving. I don't think so either. So I should be approved by Maverick in a month. I think so. I don't see why it would disqualify you from driving. Absolutely not. Texas trader, I had to voluntarily agree to train replacement workers based in Mumbai to get your severance pay. Oh, forget that. Tell them to keep their money. I'm not going to train somebody that they're going to fire me to pay less to. No way. Oh, these companies. What did you do where workers in Mumbai are going to take your job? If you can get a receipt from a lizard, can you write it off? Maybe. Only 60% though for entertainment. They can bring the new law with the 3 hours. I'm going to log as usual. And me too. That's not going to affect me. Steel Horse is here. Thank you for coming in. Hope everyone is having a good Roller Arena Monday. It's a great Roller Arena Monday as always. as we always do here. I'm on live every Monday at 1 p.m. for anybody that wants to join in the frivolity. For new people. If it's Super 10 Monday, then I believe you'll have the soup. Yes, the slow soup. I'll have the slow cooked soup, please. One for your DOT physical. Card expires 10/31. Hope I do okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. But that's easy to say, right? But exactly. If you take blood pressure medication, take it before your physical to make sure that it's lower. Retired to Arizona, a free state, open carry. Some states do it. Number 10, Super 10. Okay, number 10. There I go. Number 10 issue is Super 10s. Autonomous truck technology. Really? Drivers are worried about it? Listen, drivers. Don't worry about autonomous trucks. Decades away. Michael, I say dash cams facing the driver only for trainer trucks. That's not a bad idea, especially that keeps everybody honest. GP Transco, what's up with the white trucks? They're not all this blue color. They do have other colored trucks. I just chose that picture because I like this teal color. Some of their trucks are different colors. I've seen various colored GP Transco trucks. Steel Horse doesn't want to know what they have to say. I want to know what they say. The recruiter, not people here who are talking in the chat. Mark, me and Michael both already working at Smith. Yes. Would you clearing your own recruiter voicemail box? I bought a 1968 Needle Nose Pete. Yikes. The VA catted Super 10 over the weekend. Oh my gosh. I got to see a picture of this thing. Where is it? Is it still on its way to your house probably? Tony Hart's AC is a constitutional carrier state. That's correct. But see, carrying it and carrying a gun and then carrying a truck is two different things, especially if you're a company driver. Please be very careful with your company policies because you can be terminated for that at a company. Because you have the right in public to do something doesn't mean you have the right at work to do something. That's two different things. A company can limit your rights because you don't have to work there. So the government limiting them is one thing, but a company could say on our property that we own, our premises, our truck, you can't carry a gun. So that still is legal. A state cop in Illinois told me if I had an Illinois issued concealed carry, I was good with them. It was a federal law I was worried about. I don't know the laws for sure. For sure, I don't know the gun laws. I wouldn't want to even get somebody in trouble with that. At Smith Transport, you can get the truck you want if it's available. If you get what's around and once you want is available, then you get into it. That's kind of how I thought it worked there. Rebel Yell, what's going on? More, right? I've been doing surveys on trucking Facebook pages. I've got a lot of interesting results if you want them. Opinions on unionization. What is considered good pay? Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Not scientific, but yeah. What you got going on over there? I'll give you a raise for protecting my equipment. That's not a bad idea. What if companies paid you extra for that? I hate when my girl says, and that's not great. We can't have that kind of thing here. Holy mackerel. Do you know anything about System Transport Q? What is System Transport Q? No. That's the West Coast, right? With the reefer division also. This is flatbeds. Does the 30-minute break rule apply to local drivers? Yes, if you log. It applies to drivers that have to log. So depending, if you're local long enough where you log, then you have to take a 30-minute break. If you don't log, then they exempted the break because you're not having to log. And the current thing is they're going to extend local drivers to 14 hours. That's what they're talking about. I used to do software development for IBM. Oh, really? But became expendable after turning 40. Oh, now running hotshot and contract work. Which one would you like better? And some people ask about hotshot on here every once in a while. So is there any money in that? I don't know anything about it, but every once in a while somebody talks about that. Stevens Tanker Division Water and Sand officially closing business Tuesday. I've heard that. Closing due to decline in industry and installation of pipelines. But there's apparently an email flying around that says this. So I've got, other than a couple people have telling me about it, I can't talk about it really officially because I don't know anything about it. Do you have an email or anything official from them? The talk you got, here we go, right. When he asked about orientation, about having a gun, was it's against company policy, but if you don't say anything, they don't go look for it. That's probably most places. It's not like they searched for guns here. But if they find a gun or it's in an inspection report, you're fired on the spot. Probably the same there, right? ATA spouts fallacies like the driver shortage myth. That's true. That's probably one of their top 10. Check your deck. If you get terminated, always get a free deck report. What's going on? Good morning. Tuning in, having a little air problems. Can't complain. Could be worse. I hope they're paying you. What's going on, Oscar? Misty applied to GP Transco. Good. Let's see what they say about that. It's against the law to have any type of farm in the city limits of Chicago. Is it? Is it even? I don't live up there. Is it even possible to get a permit or anything in Chicago? Potato Head, thanks for another week. Thank you for being here on another week. Tony, state law trumps city law. Carried every day in Chicago. See, I just can't risk it at work. I went to pickups and deliveries and got the cab searched at the harbor. That's a problem, depending where you go. No, Smith just bought a whole bunch of brand new tankers for their well services. GP Transco, right, is still going through the applications from a couple weeks ago from their big news article. There's money in Hotshot up here. Lots of pipe to move. All right. People do ask me about Hotshot, and they're on the show asking about Hotshot, and I don't know anything about it. So if people came up to North Dakota, you would say that Hotshots would be able to make money up there. What are you running, a F-350 or what's going on up there? Or some other kind of truck? Not okay. ATA driver concern number 9, according to them. No drivers there. Transportation infrastructure. All right, I guess. And please note, no drivers on the ATA. You drive in Chicago unarmed, you're crazy. You just don't stop driving. We used to do that, like I was talking about in front of the Robert Taylor homes. You just go straight down the road. Man, you just didn't stop. You just kept on going. It's always time for a cat break to see what's going on, because cats like to know what's going on as well. You know, also Bridget likes to know what's happening as well. She'll be here probably till next year sometime. When she goes back to her place, siege now, we should all be armed. The tankers are old, but you're willing to wait for 389 with the APU and the deck plates and the long wheelbase, since Peterbilt is discontinuing. Do they not all have APUs? I don't remember. I read that. I don't remember. Okay, so you're running a Ram with the Cummins and the Eisen transmission. All right. How's that holding up there? Didn't they just buy like 100 new trucks? Yeah, they do. Smith is getting a ton of new trucks up there. Okay, somebody asked me about this by email over the weekend as well. This apparently has come back up in some trucking forums that the Pilot FlyingJ is not flying the American flag because they're anti-American and they hate Americans. Okay, none of that is true. This was from a picture, I don't know, a year or two ago. This is where this started. Somebody took a picture of a pilot that didn't have a flag up. All right, it turns out there was a problem with that flagpole, and people then started posting pictures of Flying J's and pilots that did have flags up. And they said, no, there's just a problem, that flag's going back up. Well, this apparently is resurfaced again, the same picture. Pilot Flying J is not anti-American or anything else like that. And they fly flags at all of their places when the flagpole works. If there's some kind of problem, then they have to take the flag down. But otherwise, yes. Pilot Flying J is American. No problem. They fly the flag. They go green AP. Okay, they have the go green APUs at Smith. That's right. That's what I thought. I have drive hotshot 1099. You would get 50% load minus fuel. I drive an F350 with a 40-foot air ride trailer. So, but the question is, would you say that you're making money? That's what people always ask. Can I make money doing a hotshot? J. James, the ship works very well. I hope more people use it. Yeah, Shipt. I put a video out about Shipt because I use Shipt. And I put the link in this description too if you want to go check out Shipt. Shipt, you can have groceries delivered anywhere you are in their delivery area. Isn't that great? So you're at a truck stop. You don't want to lose your parking place. You don't want to spend the fuel to go to a store or whatever. You can have everything from the store, not just groceries, everything in a big box store delivered to you. I use it on Wednesday, generally, sometimes Thursday. I get groceries delivered here to the house because at $35, they don't charge you delivery fee. So it's not like, oh, you're some millionaire. No, they don't charge me anything to bring the stuff right here to my front door. They walk them right up to your front door. All you'd have to do is put the truck stop address or whatever in there. Look, it's worth it if you want fresh food, fresh groceries, the whole store, windshield wash fluid, whatever it is. they'll bring it to you. Like I say, 50 pounds of grapes or 50 Mountain Dews, whatever you want. They will bring it to you. James Faust, explain to Big G. All right, so Big G had their employee stock purchase program. I have a little problem. And the trustee of it and the owner, former owner and CEO of Big G, agreed to a civil penalty of $45,454. Of course, they don't admit any wrongdoing. They're just doing that to stop this. But what happened was, when you sell your stock, you buy the stock usually at a 15% discount. And then when you sell it back, they buy it back from you at the price or whatever. Well, it turns out when these two guys got their stock bought back, they got paid more than the share price. Can you imagine that? That was just the trustee and the CEO that got paid more than everybody else. Honest mistake. They're saying it's just an honest mistake, but they're just going to pay this just to settle all this problem at Big G. I just love it. Remember, these companies, the CEOs, and that they don't care about you. They're all in it for themselves. So we paid a civil penalty without admitting any wrongdoing. And they said now they're going to move on to bigger and better things. You had an issue with your Blue Parrot 550 Still Horse. Called customer service, and they sent you an update for the headset. Works great. All problems resolved and great customer service. That is awesome. How did they send an update to a headset? That's for sure. I'm still trying to figure that out. I thought maybe you would just redo that one yourself. I know you're like totally in charge of redoing headsets. That's great though. The flag BS again. Yeah, that flares up again. I know I got several emails about it, so I want to put it out there. It's not true. FlyingJ is okay. They don't have an APU. They have a Webasto bunk heater, and are allowed to idle. It was an experiment to see if they could save fuel, but they're moving. Oh, all right. Seeds, Pilot and FlyingJ aren't any good. I agree with that. But at least we can know, we want to put out there that they're not anti-American or whatever. They're just, the parking is usually a problem there. I like the loves. Number 8 was driver distraction. Drivers are saying that? That's got to be ATA, the company saying that. That's pretty good, though. The G and Big G's for gangsta. Apparently some of these places where they say, hey, you sign or you're out of here. That should be a gangster place. That's horrible. Hello, YouTube only fuels at the TA. I prefer the loves. They tried a few trucks without APUs, and it's too much idle time and oil change interval. So they built their own APU. Yeah, right. It just kills you on idling. Send you an email. Please don't use your name. No problem. I don't use anybody's name on the show. Love says better rewards program. Could you check the expiration date on that stuff? Trucking journeys, whatever you might think about the ATA, the information from drivers is a large nationwide survey, is what drivers say. They never asked me, I will say that. And I've emailed them many times about different things. They refuse to answer or do anything with my emails, so I love it. I don't drive long, only 6 years. After a while, I thought trucking should be considered a trade and should have an apprenticeship. Trucking is complicated and dangerous. It should be, but companies are not willing to invest that kind of money into a long-term apprenticeship. You're lucky you got companies that invest 3 weeks into drivers or 6, 7 weeks sometimes to get a driver on the road. And some of them, like Prime, which I always give them grief about, when you're out on the road, they put you with a trainer, but the trainer's sleeping and you're driving. They use that truck as a team truck, pay you less as a student so they can make themselves more money. You're not really even being trained. I'm just not a fan of it. How does it deliver for food work with vegetables, fruits, and meats? Yeah. Okay, so I get bananas and some other stuff delivered, and they've been very good about it because the people, number one, they're picking out food like they would eat it. And number two, you rate them kind of like Uber after the delivery. You get to rate the people, and they are going to want a good rating, of course. And look, let's face it, most people want to do a good job. If I did that job as a shopper, I wouldn't want to bring you a bunch of, rotten, bad food or whatever. So far, they've been on time. And it works good for me because you choose a 1 hour window, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, whatever it is. They've always been within that window, and they let you know when they're coming. We'll be there in 12 minutes or whatever, so you can go get your stuff from the truck stop. It's worked out really good for me. We get 5 points a gallon at the Pilot, working to get a wife headset so she can be a super trucker. You have to wear them in there. I think the Pilot, they require it. They don't let you in without it. Alf, they still have not said anything to us drivers about the ESOP fiasco. It's in the news. So I guess you could ask them about it. It was a news story. So you should say, hey, this big story in the news? What's the deal? I'm not saying those are not right, but what I'm saying is those are not near the top issues. You've talked about the ATA as self-serving. Oh, that's certainly true. You have a new Blue Parrot B450 XT to try out. Yeah, let me know how it works. You're a model ahead of me. The ATA does not represent drivers. It represents the company and what they want. That is totally true. Pilot is anti-human. I don't know about that. Oh, they downloaded JavaScript via email for a headset? That's amazing. I guess that's, you're really old, but I would never, who would think that you could download JavaScript for a headset by email, 20 years ago? If you wear it, make it a Blue Parrot, always. You can download an app to your computer. When you plug your Blue Parrot in the computer, you can update the software. That's amazing. I never plug it in the computer. I just charge it in the wall. You can make money in Hotshot in the right locations. Typically stay around Ohio and 2 states out in any direction. All right, people ask about that. So people are asking about this Hotshot. Man, maybe there's money to be made. I wrote this down too. Bennett Driveway. I just happened to see an ad for this because some people have written in and said, look, I've been out of the industry for 5 years or whatever. What about doing a drive away? I just thought about that today. So you go drive a truck, drop it off, drive a truck. They will take you they'll take you if you only have 6 months of driving experience in the last 7 years. So if you just have just a little bit of experience and want to get back in the industry, that might be a way to do it. And you can say, yeah, I've been driving for Bennett over the road for however long. That might be a way back in, maybe. Now, James, the TA in Ontario asks if you have a gun. If you say no, they give you one. Right. And if you stay there more than 2 hours or buy $20 in the store, you get to keep it. The AT is not interested in what the drivers want. They're an organization of large companies and represent what the companies want. They don't make any bones about that. I don't want an extra 3 hours of non-paid work every day. I totally agree. This extra 3-hour thing that they want is ridiculous. They don't need more flexibility. They need more pay. That's what they need to do. Tony started with CRST. It was bad. I agree. Then rail, much better. I was lucky to get a local Teamster job. That's much better, isn't it? Team driving is terrible. CRST, right, does that anyway. Training as a team, no good. Rail, driver-facing camera, not great. I like having the mandatory 30-minute break because it forces the company to let you have one. That's not going to go away, of course. It will just go to after 8 hours of driving instead of after 8 hours of work, so at least you'll still be able to get that. The barbecue truck, I've asked 4 trainers how team driving while training is a good idea. None of them will answer. It's a good idea for them. That's what they should say. Oh, it's a good idea for my paycheck. That's what the trainer would say. Wonder if we could get a petition to get rid of the ATA, which is the people running the FMCSA. How about just somebody in charge of something is an actual driver? How about that? I don't want to work 70 hours a week and make, $800 for 2 weeks. That's not a lot, trucking journey. So I totally agree. 70 hours, just no matter where you work, 70 hours is a long week. Trucking journeys. I really cared about drivers. They would start by turning their Sierra England, Werner, and Prime and demanding that they raise their pay. The thing is that when you talk to people that come into trucking, a lot of them, they're coming from a factory or they're coming from some other job, a lot of people. And so they're making maybe $400 or $500 a week. And so if they got $10 an hour, say at a factory, $12 an hour is $480 a week. Then they go into driving and they make $600 a week or $700 a week. And so to them, that's good money. They got a raise, a considerable raise. $480 to $700 is a considerable raise. They don't realize how much it costs to live on the road or whatever. They just see that they got a raise and they don't force the company to do anything. These companies don't want a bunch of experienced drivers there because we wouldn't tolerate $700 a week. So they have to hire people that will tolerate their low wages at those companies. That's why the only solution is to strike one of those companies, but you can't get the people to do it because they think they're making good money when actually those companies hold the wages down for everybody else. Anyone actually get the 300-foot Bluetooth range for a Blue Parrot? That's pretty far. No, you can walk all the way around the truck with it though. When I get some of those cool green Iceman sunglasses, you can get those at Meijer, and they'll deliver them to you through shipped. I got those at Meijer. Those are super great. I love them. You might like them. I tell you what, I get a ton of emails about them on how horrible they are, but I like them and I'm wearing them. ECR England pays 14 cents split for new drivers. How's that okay? It isn't. It's terrible. It isn't okay at all. It's only okay because people accept it. Remember, you get the pay that you'll accept. Craig, at National Cares, they have electric APUs. It runs off the truck batteries, and when they run low, the engine starts to recharge them. Much more reliable. All right, fair enough. As long as they'll run for a 34-hour break and they don't mind your idle time of running it. You heard a lot of companies have switched over. What is the take, and do they work good? That's good. That's a good question. Number 7, training standards for new drivers. That would be higher on my list, but I agree. But the question for GP Transco, do you think any of these ATA companies are going to do anything about that? Absolutely not. If anything, they're mad about the training standards are going to change. They don't even like that. What are some good small companies to lease onto? I'm not an owner-operator. We'll see what people say about that. I retired to Arizona and took a job with England. Quit in 1 month. They were terrible. And you probably think that was 29 days too long, probably, because they put a good front on, don't they? But they're really not great. Those green shades are big pimp, and I like them. I wear those all the time. You came from a factory, $2,500 a week with overtime. Why would you come into driving? Let's ask that. If you're actually making $2,500 a week, it's tough to make that in trucking. So what brought you to truck driving? Steel Horse, why is it that none of these are about pay and insurance? Oh, yeah. Let's see if any of these are actually about pay, right? New drivers should have a placard on the trailer, kind of like what they do overseas when you get a different license plate in your car when you're a new driver. Oh, that's a good question, James. Is the ATA paying for trip and lodging? That's interesting. I'm going to say no. We'll see what GP Transco says. I wish they could lobby Congress from a week. Yeah, some dedicated routes in England are good. That's true. 1,000 guarantee and home weekends. 1,000 a week is not great on the road. You should make more than that with safety bonuses. But I've always said it. These mega carriers, some of the only way to really make a good living there is to get on a dedicated route. If you can do that at one of these gigantic carriers, you can kind of make it on. You can kind of make it because of the dedicated route. Otherwise, no. Okay, GP Transco is paying for their own trip. Nomad, as far as leasing a company, I would recommend Landstar. That's always a good way to go, Landstar. Ruth, hey, from Gary and Ruth in Iowa. What's going on? Hello, thanks for being in. This may sound funny. You went to trucking to learn how to drive a truck. Oh, you don't care about the trucking industry? Well, that's all right. Work for a Russian-owned company out of Chicago, probably. Treat us better than any other company you work for. That's unusual. It's one of the largest complaint emails I get are from companies, I don't know why in Chicago. A lot of them are in Chicago that are Eastern European owned companies that are all 1099 and treat people terribly. I just don't understand it. 2008 killed the printing business. You couldn't beg for a job. Oh, so you came into trucking. Well, what killed the printing business, if you don't mind? Yeah. People still, there's no more printing, right? Who gets mail anymore? Like I said, your position is if the AT cared about drivers, they would turn to their member companies like Swift, demand they raise their pay for all drivers. Why doesn't the ATA do that? Oh, right, because then the companies wouldn't be members of the ATA. They become a member of this, so that they don't have to do that. Maybe we should all become a member of OIDA. What if there were millions of members of OIDA and we could lobby the government that way? I think that would solve a lot of trucking's problems. It would certainly be helpful. They don't have that many members as it is. It's the only organization for drivers. ATA is certainly not an organization for drivers. I'll be interested to see what these other ones are, the ATA thinks. Done the Landstar thing, not real excited about going back. They're just another are they an ATA member? When the wife gets her year, we're going to Landstar, maybe work for Jeremy and Selena. Oh, right. They have a large YouTube channel. People should check that out. What are good questions other than obvious to ask when switching companies about local or GP Transco? Well, on truckinganswersnation.com, I'd have a whole page of questions that you can ask a company, and a lot of it depends on what you want out of driving. Because what I want and what you want might be two different things. So you need to actually sit down for a few minutes and figure out what exactly do you want? How much do you want to make? Where do you want to work? How often do you want to be home? All those kind of things. What about insurance? Do you need great insurance, or do you have it? Like we have some people here where I work that are retired military, so they don't need the insurance. So even if a company didn't have great insurance, it wouldn't matter because they already have it. So It depends on what you want. Look those questions over on my website. You can print them out or whatever you want to do with them, and then figure out what you want, and then ask every company the same questions so you can get an idea across the board of who's going to be best for you. The Nomad is a lifetime member of OIDA. All right, thank you for being a member. That's great. NRS was Italian-owned. Have you ever thought about Traveloco? NRS was Italian-owned, and we had the sole private UPS contract worth millions. Exclusive rail yard work. Oh, really? Saul Hobbs. Not only are Eastern Bloc countries 1099, that is true. They want company drivers to pay a deposit. Oh, I love it. So does Grand Island Express. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, paying a deposit for a truck that you don't owe anything on, that's great. I wonder how companies get people to do that. GP Transco, that is a great thing. Ask for hidden things. Of course, if they're hidden, they'll be like, oh, there's nothing hidden. Ask if you can get everything in writing. That is always the best way. Have them send you the thing on an email. Post a link to the association. Yeah, I'll have to do that. I should post a link from in the future, right? I'll have an OIDA link in the description. I should do that. That's a good idea. Rather than just putting it on there, duh. That's surprising. I can even get this done at all. Just email the truck wreck and set up how we got the driver's license set up and how many licenses we have to make before we're able to drive everything. Oh, wow. Thought about Traveloco, but turned out to be shady. Really? OIDA can lobby Congress. Yeah, imagine if there were more of us in OIDA, which could, overshoot what the ATA is doing. Always work for an Italian in Chicago. Should I say more? Yeah, where's my mobster from Arizona? He's not out there today. So the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse also is, the registration is opening up. GP Transco probably knows about this, more about this than me. But I saw this. Drivers that change jobs after January, companies are going to have to query the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse set up by the FMCSA to see if you have any drug-related problems. So you can now register for it. There's an article in the description where you can read more about this, but all drivers will have to be registered certainly if you're going to change jobs or anything with the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, which is going to be another gigantic government fiasco. It costs the company $1.25. They have to look each driver that they have once a year and any new hires for $1.25 as well. I'm waiting to see the first company that says you have to pay them this $1.25 back. We'll see what happens with that. Racket Maker is sitting at a Kenworth dealership with a blown head gasket. How long is that going to take to fix? Being honest with huge reduces your Hertz turnover rate and lower performance. That's totally true. Always be honest, right? Not being honest doesn't help any of that. I'd rather you told me the truth up front than you got to find out later and quit. I don't know why companies do that. Oh, well, you say, well, you told me this. Oh, yeah, but that doesn't really happen. That's just crazy. Nomad Gangster from Arizona. No, there's a driver on here who's sometimes on here, works for mobsters out of there. Sammy the Bull spent time in an Arizona prison. Did he really? Has anybody registered for this Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, by the way? I have not yet. I just saw that it was open October 1st. I haven't registered yet. All CDL drivers can register for it, and that's all in a link in the description if you want to read about it. I don't know if I'm going to register or not. I don't actually know if drivers that are not changing jobs have to register. I'm going to look more into it. I thought it was something interesting. The barbecue trucker. Knight disqualified me because you haven't had a job in the last 12 months. Would not considering your catering events. How come? I mean, their drivers come to Joe's events. So if you haven't had a job, I mean, that's why you need a job, tell them. Well, plus, if you were trying to get, a kidney and you had some medical problems, what the heck is the deal? These companies, I mean, they want people, but only the perfect people. What, Mormon mobsters? Not in Arizona. One state up. Getting unloaded. Next load is 18 miles away. That's pretty good. Hope I don't have to cross a picket line. Oh, yeah, General Motors is still on strike up there. GM and the union, the UAW, the UAW is the one on strike. GM is not giving out good contracts, in my opinion. What they want to do, what they should have done years ago when GM started moving these plants to Mexico, is not allow it. And so now some of the new things that they're proposing in the union is some of this work has to come back. You shouldn't have let it go in the first place. Plus, GM has a lot of temps, some of which they never hire. and the union wants a better path for everybody to get up to top pay. And the problem is they allowed this when the downturn and they got all bailed out, the union gave a lot of this back, and now they want to kind of claw it back to where they were. And GM's saying no to that. You should have never have allowed it in the first place because you knew it wasn't going to happen. And for everybody else, as I always say, you should buy vehicles made in the United States, of course, not in Mexico or made anywhere else. Whatever car should be made here in the U.S. because if somebody in another country works, that doesn't help me as much. I need to buy things made here so that people in the U.S. work, because then they buy the things that I make and it all works out good for everybody. That's my political message for the day. Tony had to stop driving. He refused to take loads into California. Pretty soon, nobody's going to be able to take loads into California. None of the trucks will qualify to go in there. Racket maker, you're now sitting around $50 a day breakdown. So make $550. Well, I will say that's more than some England drivers make for driving the whole week. But and that is more than some places, although that's really low. Will they give you a motel at least also? Do they pay for the motel? Arizona's a Mormon state. Also, it is. They must hide out there. I never see them out there. Tony, you're a Vietnam vet in the Navy. All right. Stationed in and out of California. 71 to 75. California was a much different state in the 70s. No doubt. I mean, it's a disaster now, isn't it? Come on, everybody. Oh, that's right. I wanted to see this. Do they pay you a motel? Right. Freightliners are made in Mexico. A lot of them are, but they do have a factory here because it just laid off 900 people from the Freightliner factory right here in the United States because of everybody bought trucks last year instead of this year. And I agree, right? I don't buy the truck at work. What's not made in Mexico or China? Well, a lot of cars and stuff are made here in the United States. When I go shopping, and you can verify it with the wife, although I don't know that anybody has ever seen her out in public. When we go to get something, I say, all right, is there one of those? Which one of these are made in the United States? And I'll buy the one even if it costs more. If it's made here in the United States, everybody should do that because you're much better off getting stuff that's made here, really, even if it costs more. Don't say, oh, that costs more. Okay, well, then don't complain when nobody has a job here. You have to pay out of pocket for the hotel and wait to get reimbursed. That stinks. So they sort of pay it, but what do you got to pay? What if you had to pay 7 days at a hotel? Here's $500, it's $800 or whatever. Just out of the blue. Well, Bill, what if a driver with a CDL has spent the last 18 years driving a spotter truck and still has a fully endorsed CDL? Hypothetical. I think that they're not going to qualify you. None of these companies would consider that experience. Seriously. Now, I've never had that kind of question, but to a company, I'm going to say most companies would say that doesn't count. Even local work doesn't count, right? Like I'm home every day. They would say no. You have to stay overnight in your truck or whatever. So even that stuff doesn't count. And so what happens is companies lose out on drivers that they would otherwise get that are very experienced because they're not going to tolerate that from a company. There's a Freightliner factory in North Carolina where you live, right? And they're laying off 900 people. But last year they were making tons of trucks, and that was the problem. It isn't anything like that. Tony is invading them from Mesa, all right? Michael says it doesn't count as over-the-road experience. Yeah, they usually say 5 states, sleep in the truck, that kind of thing. So that would not count at all. No, so is food distribution worth it? I know it's a lot of work. It might be. But I know it can be rewarding. What's my take? I'm new and just got your CDL. If I'm offered 50 cents plus 30 cents a piece, wow. Depending on where it is, that could pay really good. So if you want to be home every day and food, that'll keep you alive longer rather than sitting in the truck. Yeah, absolutely, right? Most food distribution is home every day. You might not be. Absolutely, go for it. Plus, there's some that are out longer for food distribution. Absolutely. And that's something, it doesn't matter if the economy goes down. Think about that. People still got to eat. Okay, people have to eat. Even if everybody's out of work, everybody in the country gets food stamps. They still got to get food. So you're kind of in a recession-proof kind of thing. Unless you're delivering Kobe beefsteaks or whatever. GP Transco, number 6 is speed limiters. Yeah, there shouldn't be any government-mandated speed limiter. That's what I say. Companies can do what they want with their own truck, although they should only limit the trucks to the speed of the cars around them. That's the safest. confused about inspections. Level 1 more intense, or is it the other way around? Level 1, okay, let's see. I don't know off the top of my head. Time do I go on duty? When I show up at work. How about that? It depends when my trailer comes in to the yard. Between 4 and 6. It just depends when the trailer shows up that I'm waiting for. Well, Bill, you've seen my wife. You have seen the wife in public. That is true. That was just to verify that I actually have a wife. But that's true. She does come out in public sometimes. Trucking journeys. If you mean by speed limiters that drivers don't want them, I would agree. But if you're trying to tell me drivers want them, which way was speed limiters? Did they want them or not want them? Most drivers are going to say no to that. TJ Jones in the Bull of the Woods is here from Mississippi. Hello. I'm waiting for them to send me reclaim info and get back rolling at least. You should review Great Basin out of Mapleton, North Dakota. What's up there? Let's give me a couple things. What's the store up there? I'm out 2 days and they pay for my hotels. No truck sleeping also. Oh, that's interesting. No, so for you, I would just tell them, I stay out overnight. That's what I would say, which is true. I would never tell you to lie about it. So if you were applying somewhere, you are out overnight, and they go, do you go overnight? Yes. That's probably all they'll ask, certainly. So yes, I sleep away from my home at night. Clay, Continental Distribution Warehouse in Arden is shutting down in January. Really? Is that going to affect? How many drivers will that affect? The shocker, you don't like driving a 64-mile-an-hour truck. I agree. Hello at YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Your truck does 75. That's great. Is that a company truck? The ATA says the sixth issue drivers care about is the most of speed limiters. Drivers don't want them to be so extreme. Drivers don't want them at all. Is probably the deal. Truckers pull the truckers over for 2 weeks. Country shuts down. That will never happen. That's why they killed Hoffa. No man should have that kind of power. Then they put drivers on a short leash. Well, drivers, see, that's the thing. No one puts drivers on a short leash. Like people that get 14 cents a mile at England or whatever, they accept that pay. That's the real problem for it. We, companies do this to us, but we accept it. We continue to work there. In your opinion, should I consider Prime? I don't like Prime because of the training aspect of team training. It's hard enough to sleep in a truck with somebody that you know for years. You're going to get a trainer. You don't know them, obviously, because you just started there. And their training program is teaming. And I don't consider that training. So you'll have to consider that for yourself. But I don't think you're being trained if you go in the bunk or the other person's in the bunk and you're driving. That's really not training. Otherwise, I could just train every driver from right here. Because I can just go to sleep and then people are being trained. I just saw the other day on Smith's YouTube channel, they're getting ready to institute yard move for the ELD. Nice. I wonder how they're going to do it, right? Because that's really, they're just trying to get around the rules. Companies that do that. Absolutely refuse to drive between the hours of 10 and 4. These are the hours that I find have the most difficult time staying awake. Then you should stop. I mean, that's exactly what the law allows. You should stop and park and get some sleep then, right? I'm kind of a night person, have for many years. I like it. So I like doing that. James, hey, Mark, just want to pop in and say hi before you lay down. Been running all night. Oh, yeah, right. So it's sleep time for you. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Do I know any new changes made from the DOT? There aren't nothing has changed yet. Kenneth, there are a lot of comments here. Yeah, it's going good today. Oh, hello. Does the company truck is doing 75? That's really good. Trucking Journeys had a company call you from Texas and asked me about joining their company, and they hung up on you. I don't drive between 10 and 4. I will say that if you say that to companies, they're probably not going to like it. I would say that. GP Transco checked out a top-of-the-line Western Star, and it's just awesome. They're pretty nice, aren't they? Will you be getting any Western Stars at GP Transco to park around the new terminal? Great Basin Transport is offering $1,250 guarantee, and that's nice, with YP too. 1K and potential bonuses. Offer all the benefits. 21 out. Offer 3. Wow. Trucks are loaded with comfort. They're a fleet of 300. That's a small place. Number 5 is detention and delays at customer facilities. GP Transco. It isn't the detention. It's not being paid for the detention. No one would care if they were waiting if they got $30 an hour to sit there. I think that would way change where that number 5 is in the list, certainly. So tell the ATA when you're there from Mark. Oh, tell them, number one, answer their emails to me when I email them. And number two, that detention and delays is because their companies don't pay drivers anything. Hoffa is alive and well in California. I thought he was in some kind of post in Philadelphia. I agree. Maverick is the only company I found that does not do team training. There are a few places that don't do that, but I just don't think you're being trained. If the person is sleeping, how are you being trained? And trainers always argue with me, but then I always ask, if your kid was in 5th grade and the teacher handed out an assignment and went to bed, would you allow that, even though the teacher's there in case the kid wants to ask him up? Of course not. You'd have them fired immediately and say, they're not teaching my kid. This is no different. And this way, people die. There, the kid just doesn't read the book. Place all the rules on top of each other and then take your weekly pay in dollar bills. Oh, yeah. The Western Star is the best of both worlds. It's an awesome Freightliner Detroit, and it's just amazing inside and does rides like a cloud. You would do questionable things to get one. We don't want to know what those are. They're coming up the yard move as on duty time. It is on duty time. That's why. Yard move is on duty, no, not driving. Will still affect your 70 and 14. See, I don't like companies scamming you out like that. When you're driving, you're driving. Not sure how many drivers it will affect, but they do have that lane at Continental. Cheapy Transco. Check out at Western Star before they were brought by Freightliner. They're still nice. Swift said that I could request a dedicated trainer that wouldn't team drive. Yeah, they do say that. I would like to get that in writing or something. But I will say Smith Knight also says you can request a trainer where you don't team drive. And I do know people on here that are like at Schneider, one of them, that where they do not team drive. They're on a dedicated run with their trainer, and they are only up, one shift, and then they sleep again. So it's possible. Michael, as long as you stay under 5 miles an hour, the log won't trigger, but then we're just scamming instead of getting paid. Why is there a wrench next to what you're typing? You're a moderator on the channel. You have the power to moderate comments. If I went back to driving, you're driving the oil fields. I heard it's good there. I always hear from people that are like, every once in a while they pop their head out of the oil fields and they're like, I'm making money, and then they go back in there. I'm sick of old boomers crying on the CB about how good trucking was in the 80s. I never say that. They are the ones that messed it up, pretended they were a real-life convoy movie, doing all that outlaw trucking. Look, I agree. Trucking has never been better than it is now. I wouldn't want to drive a truck from the 80s. It'd be driving day and night like we used to do. Yikes. No way. What's a big fleet? To me, I don't know, 500 trucks, 1,000 trucks. Did you say $30 an hour for detention? That's what you get. Steel horse. Oh, there you go. And so you don't mind detention as much as someone that doesn't get paid for it, I bet. It's not as terrible. But where you're working is a great place to work. And so then they pay for your time and you don't mind it as much. One of your biggest complaints about the trucking industry is that large shippers and receivers has no overnight parking. They expect drivers to use a porta potty. I agree. But I will say this, that I'm sure everybody has seen it. I don't know how drivers do this to the bathroom and then are surprised that the bathroom is closed off to drivers. I mean, okay, I get it. You got to get to the bathroom, but at the ceiling, why is there anything on the ceiling? Okay, everybody has seen that. That's gross. And so then, yeah, they close the bathroom off where they go get some kind of scraping tool for the bathroom. If we got paid, where did I go? If we got paid to wait, I'm sure shippers and receivers would load us in 15 minutes, only if they got charged for it. Because I get paid for my time. A lot of people on here are getting paid. You're Steel Horse getting $30 an hour. And the shipper doesn't care if they're not being charged for it. So it's the companies that allow this because why? Because we'll sit there for free. We will sit there for nothing. You can't sit for free and then complain about sitting for free when there's tons of other jobs. AZ, good show. Greetings from Amarillo. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it, and I always remember Amarillo. The Nomad has a channel and not a wrench. Dang it. I talked to a Swift recruiter because you were thinking about becoming a trainer and some stuff at the time, and the person cursed at you and hung up on you. Love it. I love that they do that. Yard move gives back creeping. I know, but really, when you're creeping, what are you doing? You're trying to get around some kind of log rule rather than run illegal. The more that we do that, the less money we make. Put that on the company. I don't care if we got to stop 100 feet from the door. Say, I'm out of hours. Come and get your, I can't quite get back in here or whatever. That gets the company to be better companies. And nobody should have to run illegal, right? Companies all say don't run illegal or whatever. So I totally agree. Do not run illegal. Even OIDA, run legal. I called back trying to get a supervisor and you can't talk to a supervisor. Look, some recruiters don't care. James, it's time for sleep. You're going to roll on 6.5 hours. All right. Thanks for coming in, and maybe we'll see you next Monday at 1 p.m. All dispatchers should be required to carry CDL. They should. They should at least go out with a driver. How about that? Have I heard of Millennial Transport? I've seen their trucks. I don't know anything more about it. Issue number 4 is the ELD mandate. Because drivers are not being paid properly. I think a lot of this goes back to pay. Good luck with that if the dispatcher would need more money. Hey, Big Huge Mike, and wants to know, and one wants to pay more than they have to. No one, of course, they don't want to pay more than they have to, but we shouldn't accept no pay. There's drivers accepting no money for their work. That should never be a thing in any industry, this one or anyone else. You prefer the ELD. I like to have the yard move thing, but don't want to be a position where a company could coerce you. They're not coercing you. They're saying, hey, here's a yard move. You're just on duty and, do what you want. It's kind of, and drivers are like, all right, I'll do this for a few minutes rather than making the company be better and pay you for your time. The shocker, why you can't go all over the floor and wash your feet in the sink. Yeah. Look, what about the ceiling in some of this shipper and receiver? Come on. Really? And then, of course, they shut it. Who wants to clean that up? Nobody. D-log is a driver's tool. Steel horse, yes, I remember. You can't forget it. You can't forget it. Smith pays attention after the first 14 hours of 4 every 15 minutes or 16 an hour. That's guaranteed whether they get paid or not, of course. That's not bad. First hour should be right away, of course, I always say, but 1 hour is better than a lot of places. It's something. I got threatened to be shot because got on a driver for throwing a garbage bag out of his truck on the fuel line. Could he at least throw it in the garbage can? It probably wouldn't hurt to go up to 20 an hour. Yeah, 16 is on the lower end, certainly, especially after an hour. So 2 hours is only $8,000 an hour. It's barely minimum wage. Scale on 24 eastbound is they closed the restroom due to vandalism. Right. Who's going to vandalize a bathroom at a scale? Imagine what this person would do to a bathroom at a shipper. Most experienced drivers appreciate the ELD at GP Transco and running legal. Yes. A good experienced driver that's paid well doesn't mind electronic log. They're running legal. Can you use 2 e-logs like Geotab and PeopleNet running 2 paper logs? No, probably not. That'd be just the same thing. Vamp is using yard rule. Are you using it legally? Do anything about Carol Fulmer? No, I don't know anything about Carol Fulmer at the moment. The LD gives drivers the ability to push back on a company when the company says you have to do all this and I don't have time to. Well, the drivers always had the ability to do that in a paper log if they would just stand up for themselves, certainly. Big Huge Mike likes to run legal and get more sleep, plus the money is better now than what it was. Right, you get more money. People need to work smarter, not work more. Don't work more. You don't make any more money. You got it right on. You could run legal on paper logs. It's a personal choice to run illegal. The ELD just enforces it. Exactly. It makes the people that are having a real problem with it, some people are off by hours, we're running illegal all this time. You don't mind the ELD. You don't like the 70 and 8 rule. It's a waste of time. Let's ask you this. How many hours a week do you want to work? Fleet Nav Systems makes videos for Geotab ELDs and get drivers to use them as well. You get questions from drivers about going 5 and don't understand why they would do that instead of yard move. Can someone explain? Well, I don't know why. Yard move is not just to drive around slowly. Okay, if you're driving, you're driving. That's what I think. I don't want people to, cheat because nobody makes any more money that way. Are you getting in line for roller wieners today? I get mine delivered by shipped. Christina, here's an idea. All dispatchers are to former drivers. Well, that'd be great. Are there enough drivers that would want to be dispatchers? A lot of companies run a RAM, paper logs, will kind of coerce you or force you into running illegally. If you didn't, you put your job in the line, fine. The thing is, you got to be okay with that. Nobody, you have to be okay that I'm ready for that. at any time. It's no problem. If a company wants to fire me for running illegal, it's no problem. It's no problem. So don't ever worry about losing a job that you don't like or that they make you do anything illegal. That's what I think. There's tons of jobs. There's always something better down the line. And now everybody should be signed up for Uber. Really, I'm an Uber driver. I have for many years. Because say something happens, you lose your job, you can turn that app on just like that in the parking lot and start making money. You can cash out the same day. So there's always money to be made. You can become a Shipt shopper. There's always money to be made in the interim while you're trying to find another job. Okay, money is not the problem. Don't worry about that. Don't run illegal. You can always go get money from somewhere. When we price a contract, we consider whether the customer tends to make drivers sit a lot. Since we pay drivers to sit, we'll price the lanes higher to make up for it. That's what I figure companies do somewhere. They may make way more than me, whatever. But, paying the driver to sit, it's a great idea. Here's the button you could push to work for free. Here's the yard move button. Yeah, right. All they're saying is, you can move around and we're not going to pay you anything for this. And that lowers your overall rate of pay. That isn't a great idea. I don't like it. I don't like it. People use it here. I don't use it. I'm not using yard move or anything else. The old system gave you more of an incentive to run illegal. Now you don't have a choice. And now you don't have a choice. Yeah. Oh yeah. The old system. Exactly. You could just go buy a thing. Absolutely. You never stopped me telling the boss or dispatchers if they don't like the way you work. Yeah, exactly. Always. You have to do this yourself. Steel Horse, you don't do it either. You don't, right. So because you're paid properly, you don't feel like a need like, oh, I'm getting hosed, I'm going to go do this. No. You work at a decent company that will pay you a good rate, and you don't have to worry about cheating or I got to go 2 miles an hour. I see people creeping around all the time. I'm like, wow, that's a company I'm never working for if you have to go do that, I'm curious why GP is advertising on this YouTube channel. They're here answering questions. And I will say they're the only company that's ever come on here to answer questions for drivers. And I've gotten a number of emails from people, that GP Transco doesn't even know, that said they called there and all their questions were answered honestly. And that was the end of it. So, I'd be happy to have any trucking company answer questions. Most of them won't do it. This would have to go move our 50-ton crane. Yikes, 120 miles to the terminal. My not. All right, thanks for being here, Nathan. Still living the oil field life. That sounds pretty awesome. That sounds like it pays great. Christina does. Yikes. Some drivers may not be assertive enough to stand up for themselves. I mean, that is a problem. But you have to be. You go, look, it's not legal, not doing it. If I'm allowed 11 hours, I want to drive 11 hours. If you're out 2 to 3 weeks and do 2 resets, that's 3 days less. I get home. I agree. All that time is not being paid, and that reduces the amount of money that you get. About to hit the gym. S2H, super. Love your 90 grand a year. No doubles. Nice. I don't do any doubles anymore. No dock work. Home every day. LTL line haul. I've had a number of people doing line haul that do really good. Stay away from good buddies. Yes. You live in South Bend? All right. Right up the street from me. Come on. I'll be up there sometime this year to go to the RV museum. I've seen that up there, so I want to go check it out. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you on Monday. What company would you recommend that allows pets? Ooh, that's tough too. That's a tough one, right? It's not the pets. What do you want to do? Find out what you want to do, and then find a company that allows pets. GP Transco has got a lizard policy coming up too. As by the way, I did 6 to 7 drop and hooks in the rail yard 11 hours a day. I drove with flat tires, leaking lines, frozen brakes by dispatch direction. Well, the rail yards, years ago at least, they didn't really take care of the chassis like they do now. I've heard from drivers now that all the chassis are pristine and perfect with no problems, and most of them are less than 3 months old. Answer ELD. Fleet Nav will answer some ELD questions here, and they are like Geotab experts over there too. They can tell from the experience of running a company for 13 years, and Apple needs to advertise. Oh, excellent. Look, every company has to advertise. People don't know about it. Absolutely. 2 hours at Blue Beacon, is that supposed to be on duty time? I say it's on duty time. And what the DOT says is if you're in the truck waiting to drive in preparation for or in readiness to drive is how they word it, then it is absolutely driving time. Okay, but most people would put it on duty, certainly. Will I live stream the visit to the RV museum? Probably not. I don't think that would go well on the channel here. I don't know if people would appreciate it, and I don't know what other people in there would think about it. So maybe I would make, some static pictures of it or something like that. I have a problem with your company driver switching to my name on my PeopleNet and driving on my time while I'm sleeping because I was out of hours. I was angry. E-Logs needs a TW for switching drivers. Oh, I'd call the company immediately. First, you whack that person on the head, your co-driver, and say, what are you doing? Next time I'm calling the company. How about that? Easy. Red Monkey Trucking is here. Hello, you two. What's going on out there? Yeah, get any more little dinky? You went to like the smallest place in the world I've ever seen. They work for a large company, and they got a delivery. They have a good, Red Monkey Trucking has a channel, which you should all check out. But they went to like the dinkiest little place I've ever seen a huge company deliver to. Unbelievable. Like, what the heck? That must pay really good. Think about asking Smith if they would ever consider having an optional per diem program because they don't currently offer it. Okay, I'm not a fan of per diem. While Bill thinks line haul rules, you do line haul. Your line hauls just aren't that long. Thank you to GP Transco for answering questions and being a great company to drive for. I appreciate you being here as well, GP Transco, coming in and answering questions on your time. I thank you very much. Are you relieved from work duties? If no, then you're required to move the truck in the line. Exactly. Steel Horse says it perfectly. Can you pursue activities of your own choosing? Okay, that's how the DOT, I guess, would say it legally. If not, then no, you're on duty legally. But how many people do it? Probably people stay off duty or at least take their 30-minute break there. What happens if you got in an accident while driving on your time? Oh, well, you would just get up and tell the officer, I don't know, this goofball was driving on my time. He lies all the time. I'd just throw him under the truck, literally. Sorry, GP, kind of no, I don't know about that. If the wound allows to drive 14 hours, then I wouldn't care if I was using driving time for dropping hooks and having to look 10 minutes for a trailer, as long as I still get to drive on the freeway. Well, here's the thing, Mike, what I always say about all this time looking for trailers and that, the reason that you don't like doing it is you're not paid for it. If you got paid hourly or at least some kind of daily minimum, then if you're stuck looking for that stuff, it wouldn't be such a big problem, I think. Hourly would solve that problem, I think. Looking for trailers should be paid. State police have set up inspection stations outside most yards. I work nights, so that's when dispatch push loads with bad chassis. No. The chassis are all brand new, pristine, just painted, 2 months old. A vamp leasing I'd rather use on duty, of course. Of course. It would be on duty time. You're waiting, certainly. Red Monkey Trucking, yeah, they pay decent. The biggest thing that it fits our situation. Yeah, absolutely. Look, that was like the smallest place I've ever seen. I mean, somebody delivered to, and you guys are bringing in a semi and delivering to this little dinky place. It was pretty funny, and people should go watch that video. It was pretty good. You could take that per diem and put it where the sun don't shine. I'm not a huge fan of per diem. I think it just reduces the amount that you get. Hey, GP Transco, what are these other things that the ATA had to say? I'm curious about that. Drivers don't get that we can drive 9 hours a day and get paid if we drove 12. Hard move at 20 miles an hour. Only use it. You must be on an AOBRD because an ELD would not allow that. We would not allow that. After 10 hours of driving, you start looking for a place to shut down. Once I found a spot with 6 minutes left. You made it. Congratulations. You know I don't enjoy the state taking all my money in taxes every week. Nobody likes that, but somebody's got to do it. Do we ever get our per diem for days away from home on taxes? Not yet. They talked about changing that back because currently company drivers cannot deduct per diem on their federal taxes. They said, we're going to put that back in. We're going to put it back in. Here we are into October. They haven't put it in yet. So will they put it in? I don't know. They've got to get it in there by December 31st for this year. Otherwise, it's another year without being able to take per diem again. Number 3 issue is truck parking. All right, they're right on that, certainly. I don't think there's a lot the ATA can do about that, certainly. One of the few things that they can't do anything about. There needs to be more truck parking. The ATA should lobby the government. It's one of the things I think the government should do since they're the one limiting the time. They should provide parking. I like airline pilots. We shouldn't be allowed to work more than 60 hours a week. If you can't make a living, if you got to push 70 plus hours a week, I don't think you're making a great living not being paid enough. That's what I think. Per diem hoses you when you file your taxes. It hoses you for a lot of different ways that people don't think about, like workman's comp, like Social Security, like loans, depending on where you work. Some banks don't accept it. So it hoses you out on a lot of things that I think people don't consider at the end of the year or in years gone by when they missed out on a lot of things that they would have otherwise gotten had they not taken per diem. I'd rather just take straight pay. But the per diem in the federal government, where we used to take it off of our taxes, has been gone for a while. There was a move to like, oh, we'll give this back to drivers and no problem. And then that went away. That totally went away. Hey, what's going on? Hey, it's good to see you here today. Thanks for popping in. The barbecue trucker finding a place to park was a problem in 94, and it still is. What's the cure? They need to build more parking. If the government's going to regulate time, then they should build thousands of parking places. All they can do is pave a bunch of areas and find parking and give people parking. Around cities would be great. Every 50 miles on the interstate, let's put a gigantic parking spot where there's tons of room. Sometimes drivers claim they were promised something they actually were not. Yes, I was promised a new truck. Exactly. Recruiters lie to get people in at a lot of places, and then there's no way to do it. Hey, says a nice app shipped, save money in the truck. Yes, I think so. You can save money. You don't have to go drive to the store. You don't have to lose your parking place. You don't have to go do anything. You can have all your food and everything from a huge store brought to you. And that's why I asked them, can you change your address in this? And they're like, yes, as long as it's in the service area. So before you place your order, you see if the truck stop or wherever you are is in the service area. Bingo. Have your food and whatever's in the store brought to you. Here's an easy way to solve the parking problem. Pave all the medians. Oh my gosh, that'd be a disaster. So that's closed off and called that truck only. Oh my gosh, that'd be an interesting way to do it. I like this big 1,000 spot room. What about like the Pennsylvania Turnpike used to be? Every 20 feet there was another pull-off where you can get a few trucks in there. If every road did that, that would solve it as well. So if 19 years running local and going to Vegas and back, it would be hard for me to go to work for a company like GP because you haven't been OTR. Yeah, I don't know what they would say about it, but yeah, absolutely. A lot of companies will not, if you're saying local, if you don't sleep in the truck, they don't accept it. What kind of food in the truck stop? Nah, a lot of roller wieners. There's some fruit and stuff in there, but bananas are expensive. Everything in there is expensive. If you can have a lot of food brought to you, you'd save a lot of money and you get a lot more variety. Even with 6 years of no violations, I'm still considered a rookie. I'm the least arrogant driver you see. A semi is no joke. It's the company who taught you to cheat. I know they do, and you shouldn't. You should work now towards not cheating, making more money so that you don't have to cheat the log. Because look, you're getting into an accident or something, somebody hits you, some lawyer's going over your logs, you've got a problem. That Walmart driver is the perfect example. A few years ago, that hit Tracy Morgan's bus, his tour bus, if you all remember that. Okay, it's been a few years. That Walmart driver was legal. That guy was legal. He went to jail. Okay, so don't think like just because you're running legal or whatever. He went to jail because he had a long commute to work. And they said, oh, that's enough where you were tired, you should have taken a break. So cheating your log, that would not have done any good. He still had time left on his log, and he went to jail for that, for running into Tracy Morgan's bus. You have to go 4 miles an hour and under. ELD's under 5 for ELD, so before trips. Depending on the company, it can be up to 5. Even with 6 years, right, I've had that same thing, or where am I at? I've lost my spot again. Drivers always don't mention their limitations and bring them up after they begin, of course. Or I forgot to mention, I also don't go to California and don't drive in the snow. Oh, that's great. Is there a Meyer in Memphis? There are about 190 of them in the Midwest. So I don't think they go as far as Memphis. I don't think so. But Ship doesn't just use Meyer, if that's what we're talking about. They use large stores in each city. So it isn't just the Midwest. They're nationwide. There'll be stores in your area. I just like Meyer. I just like it. Why won't they build them? The problem is not new. It costs money. They go, oh, we don't have money for that. And then they think like they have to have people there. But look, you've seen the bathrooms. What do you think a parking area with 1,000 trucks would look like unmonitored after a couple of days? Be honest. A disaster. right? I forgot to. GP, well, look, GP, as long as the company's up front, when a driver says that, you go, oh, well, I guess we're done here. I mean, but then you've invested a lot of money in hiring people. Drivers should be the same as the company, right? Honest. 60 hours is your limit. Exactly. 56 is too long. I pull in at 1,000 a week after tax, but I got to get 56 hours, which I don't mind. But imagine 70 hours, adding another 14 hours onto that week. That is a super long week. There are people here that do it. It's not for me. That's for young people. Once you get into your extreme upper 30s like me, it's just too many hours to do. GP transcode. Number 2 was hours of service. I wonder what drivers meant by that. They need more, or are they like me? They want less. I'd like it to be less. Clay, I have $140 of work for per diem on top of your pay and reimbursements. How does that affect your taxes? Well, it's interesting. Some companies do it different ways. If you get paid plus per diem, that's one thing. If, say, it's 50 cents and then they give you 10 cents per diem, that's better than 50 cents, but they give you 10 cents, they subtract 10 cents. So you're getting 40 cents plus 10 cents per diem to get to 50. So it won't affect you that way. Per diem is non-taxable, but what I want people to do is not have their pay taken away to get per diem. Per diem is supposed to be in addition to. So you have your pay, and then they also give you per diem. Not, here's 50 cents, but now we're going to give you 40 cents and make 10 of it per diem. That's not giving you per diem. That's giving you your own payback. Per diem should be in addition to your pay, and there shouldn't be any fee for it, right? CFI, which is one of the places that does that, right? That has a fee. There shouldn't be any fee. They shouldn't take a penny. Some places take a penny and a half, 2 cents for giving you the per diem. No, they don't charge you for per diem. That's crazy. It's expensive on purpose. They know some truckers are lazy and will just buy the expensive banana. That's true. They will. But it's hard to go get a banana. I've seen them 2 for $1, right? Sometimes 75 cents a piece. You can get them delivered to you much cheaper. If there's parking, the cops couldn't give you a ticket for going over the, where'd I go here? Going over the limit. Going over your time trying to find a spot on the turnpike still has the pullouts. Okay, good. That's the place to park. Every interstate should be like that. Per diem is a part of your pay that is non-taxable, so it doesn't count as gross pay. Will not count towards Social Security, and won't count towards people when they look to give you a loan. And it doesn't count towards workman's comp if you need anything like that. It doesn't count towards unemployment if you work at Falcon and your company closes and you happen to take per diem. It doesn't help you for that stuff. I spend $100 every 2 weeks at home for groceries in the truck. Haven't eaten in a truck stop. That's a good way to do it. Bring the stuff with you. You can do that too. Some people need to get groceries on the road though, and other things. You can have them bring you windshield washer fluid. How about that? That's way cheaper at a store than it is at the truck stop. Anything in the store can be brought to you. You need 20 pounds of peat moss, they'll bring it to you. Whatever you need. It's really sad when you're forced to stop and you run out of hours, but the states are permanently closing a lot of rest areas. They should leave them open. Scales that are closed should be available for you to park. All that should be available. We pay for that. That should all be open. What's the number one issue for drivers according to the ATRI? I thought it would be pay, right? I'm going to say it's pay. But I don't know. It's usually not the number one issue for drivers. The ATA might think that, but it doesn't usually. Kroger is Meijer, I think. Meijer and Kroger are separate. We have a Kroger here as well. Meijer is its own company. It started years ago. Fred Meijer started it. I know that because I see the sign in there every week. Look at TA, that's only a couple hours. Is it fair that some suit gets a 6-figure bonus on top of a salary and all they want to give you is a turkey, plus bulk of giving the driver what they deserve? The whole industry is lopsided. Drivers get what they'll accept. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Josh, need a car nap before work? All right, thanks for stopping in. Ohio on 80 is awesome. Every 30 to 50 miles, huge lot. Service plazas, right east and west. Showers, laundry, food. Absolutely. Why aren't they all like that? All recruiters lie. I think that's why you couldn't get any of them to speak to you at the truck show. Oh, wasn't that something? I mean, most of them didn't want to even talk because they don't want to be filmed lying. Werner charges for perform also. They charge for per diem. They should not. There should be no charge for per diem. It saves the company money. Do you think paid reserve parking at most truck stops just added to the parking problem? I don't know. I mean, there's the same number of spots, and I think drivers will pay it if they have to. Some companies are paying it too. I don't know. It didn't add any spots. It just took some spots and made them paid spots. What food delivery like Uber Eats? We use Uber Eats here too. So I've used Uber Eats. That's the only one I've ever used. No problem with it. And you can follow the car around where you see where it's coming from. So absolutely, Uber Eats is another way to get a meal or food like that delivered to you at a truck stop or wherever you go, certainly. Meal plan with a big cooler, that works too. What do I know about AD transport? I don't know. I have anything on top of my head. I've been thinking about getting a microwave or toaster oven so that you could do more with your fridge. Just to have sandwich stuff. Yeah, imagine if you had that and you could get regular groceries and stuff. Does CFI charge extra for phone holder? No. This they give you this free, but they charge you for per diem. Don't like it. Don't like to charge you for it. I refuse to pay for parking if the company won't pay for it. Your company driver's not your truck, and it's not your problem. I'll park on the shoulder before I do that. Well, I'd pay for parking before I park on the shoulder. As you know, here in Indiana, it's $500 to park there. So if they catch you doing it and decide to ticket you. Steel Horse says, no, they give them away. Recruiters never want to go on the record or put things in writing, and that's the problem. That's the huge problem in the industry. Everybody already thinks when they're calling a recruiter, they're going to get lied to. And that has to change on the ATA's end. How about, take that back to the ATA also. I've heard good things about AD. Their trucks are governed at 70. That's nice. They do have driver facing and road facing based out of Michigan. So that depends on how they deal with the camera. I got a microwave and have Hot Pockets. Chimichanga, sweet. Pudding and salad. All right, that sounds like a great breakfast. A Hot Pocket, a chimichanga, and some pudding. And I'm ready to go. Smart Pot gives you a real meal. Number one driver issue is compensation. Well, that's interesting. My company pays for parking, but I don't abuse it. Yeah, if there's, certainly. If there's somewhere to park, I would park, but if they'll pay for it, absolutely. So driver issue is compensation. Well, you're there, GP Transco. What does the ATA say they're doing about compensation? Anything? I mean, in an article that I read about when they wanted to push some other stuff here about safety, they talked about reducing compensation, and they said, it'd be really difficult to reduce compensation beyond what it already is. Once you set it at a level, it's hard to reduce it, and that's why they've been adding a lot of bonuses rather than increasing driver pay. So what does the ATA say? If they went to all the trouble to survey drivers and get all this, what are they going to do about it at their companies? Drop trailer to get loaded. You are not allowed to leave the property. That's how I discovered Uber Eats. All right. It's on your Uber app. You remember, while you're there, sign up to drive for Uber. You never know when you'll need to do it. You don't ever have to drive for them, but if one day you need to make some money right away, you can just turn it on and start making money. Banquet meals and morning in Wyoming today. That's probably better than their earlier meal here. Any other industry, it is considered false advertisement, whereas recruiters just blatantly lie and fluff up what the potential driver wants to hear. Yes, because later they'll deny they ever said it. Absolutely. Please warn all trucking professionals of the dangers posed by 5G microwave antenna arrays. Okay, drivers, there's dangers posed by 5G microwave antenna arrays. What's your opinion of company drivers are getting fines from their company violations, such as logging any kind of speeding, parking, DOT inspection? Is that right? A company driver, it's been fined. Drivers are getting fined from their company. What do you mean drivers are getting fined by their company? Michael, you only eat once a day and you're done for the day? Yeah, you had a Hot Pocket and a chimichanga. That's enough for the day. Can you email a copy of your check? You don't think you get charged? You're getting paid well, but it's your first year. 2020 is your first year? Absolutely. Speed limiters equals reduced driver compensation. Yes, that's another way that they reduce driver compensation over at the ATA companies. Big, huge Mike. Back in the day, I used to just call Chinese places and give them the address. Well, they probably will come. Where I was and tell them to call you so they could be ready for the Chinese places never cared. Yeah, I'm sure. They don't care, right? But Uber Eats, you can get many, many different restaurants delivered to you. That's where you record every phone call when you interact with your company. Yeah, it can be tricky depending on the state because the point of recording it, for me at least, would be to use it against them either through a governmental agency or something like that. And if you're not allowed to record it, you wouldn't be able to use it. I guess you could use it and say, look, I recorded you. Depends. Company requirements are a contract for 12 months. Most companies ask you for a year. Texas Trader, agree 100%. Uber was the only way I avoided eviction after getting laid off. Exactly. And if you're already signed up, you don't have to wait the 3, 5, 7 days, however long it takes to get everything set up. Be ready. If you get fired, your company closes, whatever happens, you can just go right into your car and turn it on and start making money. You can cash out every day. So it's just a backup plan that you have. There's no minimum amount you have to drive. And it'll take you a little bit of time. In a few days, you'll be set up. Believe me. It's a nice backup plan. So the company fires you, who cares? Say, fine, I'll turn Uber on right here in the parking lot. You might give your boss a ride home and make money. Always made sure to tip good so it wouldn't be a problem next time. Always tip your Shipt shopper, tip your Uber driver. Absolutely. You always tip, and I totally agree with you. Serving a parking spot should be part of your trip plan, right? I got to learn a bunch of new stuff since you drove last time. That's correct. A lot of them on the app, you can reserve the spot in advance on the app. Yeah, and I assume that works good. I've never done it, so I assume that works good, really. I wouldn't be mad if they made a speed limiter that limited the truck to the actual speed limit. They're working on it. They are working on it. BMW has it in some of their cars in Europe, and so they are working on it for trucks. Freightliner and whatever the thing is in there, they're talking about it. So yeah, but the problem is you're on a road that's 35, it's going to be 35. 20, it's 20. So, but they are working on it. You have to make the other party aware your calls are being recorded. It's too risky for me to do. I like to say, I always tell them, look, send me that in writing. Then you have an email from them. When you're in Texas going 68 and the speed limit is 80, you see that as a safety problem. So do I. You should be able to go at whatever the speed is. Unloaded, headed to the Hillbilly truck stop. All right, Trucker Hershey. GP Transco, thanks for the show and everyone for chatting. We have a meeting with Freightliner. Oh, nice. All right, thanks for being here, GP Transco. I always appreciate you coming in and answering questions anytime you're available. People that want information about GP Transco, there's their information right there and their new teal trucks. Companies are always welcome to come in and answer questions if they want to. Trucking journeys ineligible in court, right, be without disclosing, and that's a problem. But so you get them to send you stuff in writing. And if they send a message on the Qualcomm, take a picture of it. Always text places. A Fleet Nav Systems is there. That's awesome. Check them out. You two can get together. That's pretty good. What's my view on driver-facing cameras? I don't like them. Companies shouldn't do it. If they think you're a professional, then they shouldn't have to watch you all day. Okay, but part of it is how a company treats you. I think we had a driver on earlier that got mistreated by it basically and had to sign a form about it. Some companies leave you alone about it. They shouldn't do it. I wouldn't go to a company that had them, but would you quit a company that gets them? That's a different choice, quitting a place. But I do put that as a question you should ask a company. Do you have driver-facing cameras? And I just don't want to risk going to a place that's going to fire you anyway for them. You don't want to get fired over like this, changing a radio station. They fire you or discipline you, and now you have a safety violation for that? That's garbage. I just say your phone call may be recorded for quality assurance. You can do that. That would be legal. You're telling them in advance. Does anybody ever hang up on you? You better log your Uber time. Big Brother's watching. Uber is self-employment, kind of like this. People have asked about YouTube and stuff. I take that, the actual definition in the DOT, because I had to look into this. Any compensated work outside of a motor carrier has to be logged. Compensated work. So I had to look up the official government definition of work. What is work to the government? Work is as an employee. They're specific about it. At a job where you're scheduled to work. Like, say you had a second job at Meijer as a cashier from 9 to 5 on Saturdays. You'd have to log that you're an employee. Independent contractors, business owners, entrepreneurs, people like that, like you, say you own a roller wiener stand, okay? You do not have to log that as work time according to the DOT. So I looked into that, and Uber time would not have to be logged. Would not have to be logged. Some companies are asking drivers to use PC to cheat. Of course, drivers shouldn't do it. You say no. And any company that does that, you say, I'm quitting, I'm leaving, because it's not a great place. Nev Mev, knocking it out of the park with a stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. They have that speed limiter thing now. Read speed limit signs. It's called speed gauge. Oh, okay. So are they already working at some places? I saw it was being put in. BMWs were trying it. That would be something. Making more. I will say this, that a lot of the driver-facing cameras have a speed limit thing on them. And if you speed, you get in trouble based on the camera. The truck doesn't slow itself down. But you can get in trouble by speeding, and then the camera takes a video of that and gets you in trouble that way. Leo's making more money gambling than trucking. $1,000 last night. Nice. Playing blackjack. I always hit on 18, right? That's how I do it. I always use a different strategy. I hit on 18. Nate, GP Transco, find out if they have any violations, such as DOT inspections. I haven't seen I have their driver manual. I don't think so. We'll see about that. They're gone for today. I'll write to them. Big, huge, I speak all day to my camera, rated X. Hey, tell it what you think, right? Nobody's going to look out for you and your family but you exactly. Big, huge Mike also talks to their camera. People are talking to their camera. I wonder what people around them think. The automatic speed limit sensor is great when you go 70 and the sensor reads 25 from the rest area and adjusts the speed, right? That could be a problem. Considering that it doesn't even know where the lane keep thing is, I can't imagine this thing is going to do great. When you record a company, there's a recording before anybody picks up that says your phone call may be recorded. That's true. And I have a friend of mine who's a workman's compensation attorney and stuff, and I've actually asked him about that. And that he said, look, that's risky because it's them agreeing for you to be recorded. They aren't agreeing for you to record them. They are having you agree that they record you. He said you're better off alerting them that you are also making a recording, even if they say the phone call is being recorded. So you just say the same thing at the beginning of the call, anybody picks up, and nobody's hung up. But they do ask me why. I'd say because you're recording it. Steel Horse, does Wild Bill ever say, take this job and shove it? Yes, I bet he does all the time. Swift, they caught a driver doing things on a mattress. He said his wife was the only one watching the tapes. You'd have to close the front curtains. My carrier claims that the Zonar camera is disabled, but they state you'll be terminated if recovered. How would they know? They aren't disabled. Exactly. They're lying. I would call them on it. You're lying. Why can't we do that? Why can't we cover it? GP Transco said that's not correct. I didn't think so. See you later, GP Transco. Thanks for being here. I'm going to have to take off and make my company some money also. Well, Bill cannot have any electronic equipment in your truck. That's correct. That's why you have that wind-up CB radio in there. We're trying speed gauge at Smith. Oh, if you get one, let me know how that works. European-style bathrooms may help. You need to pay to use the toilet. Drivers, oh my God. Speed gauge thing is at Smith. If you go 5 an hour over the limit, it dings the company and lets them know you're speeding. It's not a variable governor. Right. So it's reading kind of like other driver-facing cameras. It reads the speed of the road or it thinks it knows it, and then you get talked to by somebody that doesn't drive. They say they can't see you unless an event happens, but it's pretty strange when they know you do things you never told them. Yeah. Tell them, look, if it's off, I should be able to cover it. At least CFI does that. So I got to give them that. The driver-facing camera there, I know this policy, right, is off unless you have problems, and then they turn it on. And they allow you to cover it because it's off. Swift did that too. Swift said our cameras are off. You can cover them if you don't believe it. Because if the camera's not working, there's no reason you couldn't cover the camera, right? They all said someone quit and get naked for the camera. Well, at least they went out on a good note. Fleet Nav System, thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. And Big Huge Mike, Texas Trader was here. The Barbecue Trucker, I thank you all for coming in. GP Transco, I appreciate it. Trucking Journeys, thank you for coming in. Wow, Bill, it's always good to see you here. James Faust, thanks for being here. Nate Gabriel, thank you for coming in. Michael Cole was here. Hello, YouTube 541. Steel Horse, thank you for coming in. And I have to go make my company some money. Kay Wayne was here. Thank you. And they do not charge for their phone holders. And Gracie, of course, is not impressed with that. Certainly, Bridget will also say thank you for coming in today. As always, check out Jay tomorrow. As I always say, at 8 p.m. at Auto Transport Intel. Here's some information from GP Transco, who comes in and answers questions. Very nice for us. And so there. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Check out the blog and stuff. And I'm going to head on out, and I got to make my company some money. So, yikes. They're waiting for me as usual. Thanks for being here, and we'll be back, of course, next Monday and every Monday at 1 p.m. right here, all right? Be safe out there, and we'll see you in a week.